Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the channel. I'm IWN, and this is your Friday Night Smackdown and Rampage October the 15th, 2022 review. We got a lot of things to go over. I have a huge loaded show for you this afternoon. LA Knight won his in-ring debut match last night on SmackDown. Also, Rey Mysterio becomes the next #1 contender for Gunther's Intercontinental Championship. Plus, Bray Wyatt returned, breaking character, cutting a very, very sad, emotional promo on SmackDown. Plus, I have your WWE and AEW Saturday afternoon news, which we're going to go over right after the SmackDown Rampage review. So before we get to the review, if you guys are new to the channel, hit that subscribe button, hit the like button on the stream. Let's get at least 5 or 6 likes on the stream minimum. Let's get a whole bunch of likes on the stream minimum for today's SmackDown Rampage review. Also, if you haven't done so, turn on that bell for all notifications so you don't miss a single review and watch along that goes live each and every single week. Oh, and also, right after I give you guys your WWE and Saturday, or your WWE AEW Saturday afternoon news, I'm going to go over my full YouTube schedule for the new coming up week. So, many things to go over and talk about. So we're going to go ahead and get to the review right away. I'm not going to waste nobody's time here, because actually I'm kind of wasting my own time a little bit, sort of. So as far as Friday Night Smackdown goes, This is episode 41. So the show actually opened up with a car accident scene outside the venue. And I don't know if you guys knew or know or not. I don't know if you were in the live chat last night, but I was live with my Smackdown and Rampage watch along last night. We had a good time. My moderator Hassan was there. RJ was there in the live chat. Those were the only two people that were there. I had 5 people watching last night for Rampage, so that's great. That's great. It means I'm doing something right on the channel, man, when I legitimately have 5 people watching. So Karrion Kross was selling an injury as Scarlett stood by. Drew McIntyre showed up and attacked Kross until he was pulled away by Adam Pearce and others. Scarlett checked on Kross. The SmackDown opening aired. Michael Cole and Wayne Barrett were on commentary. And Samantha Irvin was the ring announcer. The pyro shot off on the stage and Cole and Barrett checked in from ringside. They recapped footage of Kross beating McIntyre in a strap match at Extreme Rules. The broadcast team hyped the 4-way match for the Intercontinental Championship and said that Karrion Kross was still scheduled to compete alongside Ricochet, Sheamus, and Solo Sikoa. They all hyped Bray Wyatt's return. They also hyped Bray Wyatt's return as well. Kofi Kingston and Xavier Woods made their entrance, spoke from the entrance ramp area. They boasted that they still hold the record for the longest WWE tag team title reign ever. Cole noted that Jimmy Uso and Jey Uso were 30. It looked like it said thirsty for a minute when I read it. But Jimmy and Jey Uso were 30 days away from breaking the record. Backstage, Sami Zayn was expressing his appreciation for Solo Sikoa when Jey Uso showed up, spoke about Zayn not wanting Jey during his loss on Monday's Raw. Zayn got a call from Roman Reigns and told him that it seemed like Jey could have helped and chose not to. And the phone to Jey, who tried to state his case before backing down. Zayn got the phone back, laughed at something Reigns said. Jey wanted to know what Reigns said. Zayn told him that it was an inside joke, and Jey wouldn't get it. Zayn and Jey made their entrance. So we got Kofi Kingston with Xavier, Sami Zayn, and Jey Uso, the first match of the night for SmackDown last night. Remember, SmackDown kicked off with the accident. The first match for SmackDown last night was Kofi Kingston versus Xavier Woods versus Sami Zayn with Jey Uso at ringside. So Zayn took an early count. Kingston teased a dive and bounced off the ropes inside, heading into a commercial break. This was the first commercial break of SmackDown, episode 41. Kingston eventually took offensive control. He took offensive control and went up top. Zayn met him and shoved him from the top rope to the floor, heading into another break. We got another break. So that was the second break already coming from SmackDown. Another break in a row. And then when it came back from break, Kingston and Zayn, Kingston put Zayn down with an SOS for a near fall, pretty much. Pretty much what I was trying to say. It sounded like it wasn't going to come out of my mouth right. That's it. Zayn went ringside. Kingston performed a flip dive onto him and then rolled him inside the ring. Jay superkicked Woods at ringside, which distracted Kingston. Zayn put Kingston down with a blue thunderbomb and got a near fall off the distraction. Zayn charged for a haluva kick. He charged for a haluva kick. But Kingston ducked between the ropes and caught Zayn with a kick. So then we got Kingston setting up for his finisher, but Jay climbed onto the apron. Kingston punched Jay off the apron, and then Zayn rolled up Kingston for another near fall. Then Zayn ducked Trouble in Paradise. Kingston rolled up Zayn, but Jay snuck onto the apron and knocked Kingston. Kicked Kingston so that the pin was reversed, which led to Zayn getting the 3 count. So this was a fun match between Sami Zayn and Kofi Kingston. I guess this means Jay made up for not helping Zayn on Monday, pretty much. It also built more tense between the New Day and the Usos, are clearly building towards a showdown match as the Usos attempt to break their record for longest WWE tag title reign. Backstage, Triple H thanked policemen for their work with the act. Rey Mysterio showed up as the cops left. Rey told Triple H that given everything that's happening to Mysterio, he doesn't pay forward. Rey said he won't fight his son. Triple H was sympathetic, pretty much. Rey said he still sees the little boy that used to sit on his lap and fall asleep on his shoulder. Rey said he loves WWE, but wanted to look Triple H and let him know that Triple H said he can't imagine what Rey is going through. But there has to be another way. Triple H asked Rey for 5 minutes to see if they could come up with another way. Triple H and Rey entered Triple H's office. A Raw ad hyped Brock Lesnar appearing, questioned whether The Miz could stop Dexter Lumis from earning a contract, and listed Seth Rollins versus Matt Riddle for the United States Championship. Rey continued to play his part really well. Now, I can't really imagine what that segment would have been like if Rey had told Mr. McMahon, if Rey had told the Mr. McMahon character that he was quitting. Meanwhile, WWE previously announced that Elias would return on Raw, but he wasn't mentioned in the act, which struck odd to me. And then, speaking of ads, an ad aired for the Pick Your Poison matches that will take place on Tuesday's NXT television show, which runs head-to-head with AEW Dynamite. Backstage, Roxanne Perez spoke with Shotzi Blackheart, who introduced her to Raquel Gonzalez. I wish they would change it back to her last name back to Gonzalez, because it sounds better than Rodriguez, in my opinion. Perez said she wanted Rodriguez to face Cora Jade in the Pick Your Poison match on her behalf. Of course, Rodriguez said the Damage Control, Trill, Bayley, Dakota Kai, and Scott showed up. Bayley asked Perez if she was stupid, adding that she was the only choice. Perez said she was going to pick Bayley, but she hasn't exactly been on a winning streak. Bayley said Perez isn't on her level. Bayley said Damage Control would embarrass the 3 baby faces. Here we go. The broadcast team hyped Fox's NFL coverage. Braun Strowman made his entrance. We got Braun Strowman versus James, Maverick, and Brian Thomas. Obviously, James, Maverick, and Brian Thomas were jobbers to this match against Braun Strowman. The entrances of the enhancement wrestlers was not televised. Barrett said Strowman is the great-grandson of Charlie Chaplin. Barrett said he would have guessed that Strowman is related to Hagrid, then said, God rest his soul. Robbie Coltrane, who played Hagrid in the Harry Potter movies, died. He died yesterday, folks. My condolences go out to him and his family, of course. So we got Omos and MVP. Omos! Man, I wish JD would start sending me those Omos impressions so I can start doing it. Omos and MVP appeared in the crowd, walked down the steps, and watched the barricade. At them before powerbombing one enhancement wrestler onto the other. Strowman put his foot on one of the wrestlers and got the pin while Cole said he put the two Jawbrenis away. After the match, MVP had a mic and took issue with Strowman's Monster of All Monsters moniker. MVP said that Strowman would look normal if he stood next to Omos. MVP's music cut while he told Strowman that some monsters are better off staying in the shadows. Strowman banked at both men from the ring while Cole repeated the MVP line that was cut off by the mic. Cole hyped the four-way match for later in the show. So apparently, Omos wins handicap matches. So now Braun Strowman is winning handicap matches as the company builds to their showdown match. This is one of the reasons why I titled this feud the worst feud in WWE has just started. Yeah, when I mean by the worst feud, I mean the Braun Strowman and Omos. This for Crown Jewel is going to be a complete disaster, just to give you a heads up. This is going to be one of the worst matches on the Crown Jewel card. I don't know why you would have 7 foot tall guys wrestling each other for Crown Jewel. Now, on my Extreme Rules review, I did say that Lance Archer versus Braun Strowman is better than Omos versus Braun Strowman. Why all of a sudden 5 days later? Why all of a sudden 5 days later, I mentioned Braun Strowman versus Omos on my Extreme Rules review, only to find out that now they're starting the Braun Strowman and Omos. Sounds to me like WWE must have been watching my Extreme Rules review or something. That's what that sounds like. Sounds like WWE must have checked it out and must have seen that I had 1.1 quadrillion views. Triple H probably watched it and said, "Oh, that's a great idea." No, it's not a great idea. I never told WWE to book Omos versus Braun Strowman. I never want to see that match. Never wanted to see that match for Crown Jewel. Nobody in the community wants to see Braun Strowman versus Omos. Two of the worst wrestlers that Triple H has right now in WWE. They need to get this match over with and get rid of Braun Strowman and Omos. Get rid of them. I don't care if Braun Strowman is dating Raquel Rodriguez. I don't care if Omos is great or not great. Omos is not great. He's terrible. Same with Braun Strowman. Braun Strowman is easily one of the worst talents you could ever sign to WWE. You could ever bring back to WWE. Triple H signed Braun Strowman to WWE was a massive L from the word go. Starting this feud with Braun Strowman and Omos was a huge, massive L. This is an L for me. This Braun Strowman Omos feud, this is an L. I'm looking forward to seeing this miserably fail on WWE television. Because nobody's going to be watching this match at Crown Jewel. You know what the fans in Saudi Arabia are going to be doing? They're going to be booing this match. Rightfully so, I don't blame them. The fans at home are going to be booing this match. And I'm going to be one of them. You know what I'm going to be doing when I see Braun Strowman and Omos in the ring? I'm going to be playing that Longhorn instant sound, instant button on my Saudi Arabia Crown Jewel watch along. That, you know what that thing's going to do? It's going to be like boom, 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 boom. Matter of fact, let me show you what I'm talking about. I want you to listen to what I'm talking about here. I'm telling you right now, folks. Braun versus Omos is going to be one of the worst matches on the Crown Jewel card. If anything, Roman Reigns versus Logan Paul is going to be just as worse with Logan Paul in it. Now, Roman Reigns is going to be doing most of the work in that match. He's going to be doing great. Logan Paul, I don't know. I don't know, man. I have yet to see what Logan Paul can do. We'll see how the match between Roman Reigns and Logan Paul goes. But back to what I was saying. Guys, when I see Braun Strowman and Omos in the ring for Crown Month, this is the first thing I'm going to be playing. This is the first thing I'm going to be playing. This right here. Braun Strowman and Omos has got to get off TV. They got to go. They are terrible. They are absolutely awful. I don't know why I came up with this idea of Omos Feud. They gotta be a bunch of complete idiots or something, man. Something's got to be wrong with their brains if they think this feud is going to somewhat boost up the viewership and ratings for the Crown Jewel pay-per-view. Braun Strowman versus Omos is going to nowhere boost up. It's not, put it this way, it's not going to boost up the ratings or the viewership for Crown Jewel. Not even Roman Reigns versus Logan Paul. My prediction for the Saudi Arabia Crown Jewel viewership ratings, it's going to go to an all-time low. Plain and simple. Crown Jewel ratings and viewership is going to go to an all-time low. Legitimately. I cannot wait to see Crown Jewel miserably fail. This is going to be the third time that Crown Jewel produces terrible matches. For the first time in over 2 years, Crown Jewel is not going to be a good pay-per-view. It wasn't last year, and it wasn't the year before last. Especially now with Braun Strowman and Omos being booked for Crown Jewel, it's going to be nowhere near SmackDown Raw or NXT's level. Heck, I'd take NXT over Crown Jewel. That is how awful Crown Jewel is going to be. That's how bad the Crown Jewel pay-per-view is going to be. And NXT, they're not doing good themselves. NXT is doing absolutely awful. And I can see why a lot of wrestling YouTube content creators are not going live with their NXT reviews anymore. NXT's trash. It's trash. It's boring. I mean, don't get me wrong. They got some good talents like Carmelo Hayes, Cameron Grimes, and Wes Lee, and Kaylee Ray, Albie Frey. That's her name, Albie Frey. They got Miku Satomura. They got some pretty good female male talents down there over on NXT. But the NXT shows are still god awful. And until Triple H changes something, I'm not going to review NXT. I'm legitimately not going to be doing NXT reviews until NXT shows get better. Now that the Monday Night Raw shows are getting better, now I can start going live with my Monday Night Raw reviews again. I'd start going live with them on Tuesday afternoons. So instead of Elevation watch-alongs, I'm going to start going live for my Monday Night Raw reviews, just like I did when I had 2K20 during that time, which was probably 2-3 years ago. You guys remember when I used to do my WWE 2K22 Monday Night Raw, SmackDown NXT reviews for the actual shows? You remember that? You guys remember? when I used to always shit on Raw and SmackDown and NXT. Well, I'm not shitting on SmackDown and Raw anymore because Raw and Raw and SmackDown, the shows have gotten better all because of Triple H. Now Triple H can focus on changing NXT next. Now we can start to slowly see NXT get better. Now, as far as NXT commentary goes, yeah, the commentary has gotten even worse for NXT. With Booker T on commentary, there is no chance in hell that anybody's going to be watching NXT. Let's be honest, Booker T has the worst opinions and takes on his podcast every single week. Always. He's always got to bitch and whine and have his opinions and takes about something, whether it's Sasha Banks and Naomi's walkout, whether it's Juice Robinson, whether it's freaking Andrade, whether it's freaking Charlotte Flair, whether it's freaking Ember Moon, whether it's freaking Renee Young or Soraya Page, whether it's Britt Baker or whether it's freaking Thunder Rosa, he's always got to have some terrible take on somebody on the AEW or WWE men's and women's rosters. You always gotta have a terrible take on every single person, on both brands, on both wrestling promotions, always. Same with Billy Ray. His takes are terrible. His opinions are god-awful. Really. And then you wonder why nobody watches Booker T's podcast or Bustin' Open Radio. And then there's these people saying Tony Khan's on Bustin' Open Radio every week. Well, no shit. I mean, AEW is doing good for themselves right now as far as producing some of the greatest Dynamite episodes that they could ever produce. Dynamite is sitting at number 1. Rampage is sitting at number 2. Meanwhile, Dark is sitting at number 3. And Elevation is sitting at number 4. Elevation sounds like the Elevation and Dark shows need to get better. Some weeks, the Rampage shows are better. Some weeks, the Rampage shows are not better. Every week, the Dynamite shows are great, are decent, are solid. I'm glad Dynamite's number 1 in AEW. We need better. We need good Dynamite shows, such as the one that was produced this week. I cannot wait for next week's episode of Dynamite. I'm definitely going to be live with my Dynamite watch along for next week's episode of Dynamite. It's going to be great. It really is. It's going to be a great show, man. We're still going to go over AEW Rampage after the SmackDown review here. Oh, yeah, by the way, this is the second instant button sound I'm going to be playing when I see Braun Strowman and Omos doing terrible, sloppy moves in the ring. Yeah, seriously, man, you got to get Strowman and Omos off of TV, Vic, man. And then you wonder why this week's viewership dropped to an all-time low. I'm going to tell you why. It's simple. I'm going to tell you why later. It's simple. I just said their names. I just said something about this feud. Gonna save it for when I go over the news on the viewership for SmackDown. That's what I'm gonna do. Yeah, this feud is going to be absolutely a complete disaster. Right from the word, it's gonna be terrible. It's gonna be one of the worst feuds in 2020. So we got a video package recapping the Brawling Brutes beating Imperium in a Donnie Brooke match at Extreme Rules. Now, you want to talk about a good feud. Now, the Brawling Brutes Imperium feud, this rivalry has become one of the greatest rivalries on SmackDown, man. SmackDown is doing great right now, man. They are producing the best shows on Fox, on WWE television. Some of the best shows ever, man. Sami Zayn, he's great. He's doing great, man. He did absolutely great here. He was talking to Solo Sikoa when Jey Uso asked Sami to show him some gratitude. Sami said he won the match all on his own and said he wasted Jey. Jey would give him for once. I didn't mean to say wasted. But you guys know what I mean. Jey asked Sikoa to back him up, Sikoa said he was watching Sami because he can learn a lot from him. Sami fired up Sikoa about the fatal four-way match for a shot at the Intercontinental Championship. Then we got Maxxine Dupri. Ooh, Maxxine Dupri. Ooh, Maxxine Dupri is better than Mansoor. But the faction itself is complete AIDS and complete cringe. It's cringe. Maxxine Dupri stood on the stage, introduced Mansoor and Meshwa. Cole set up a video package that recapped Max Dupri, known as LA Knight now, standing over the bombs and telling Maxxine that his name is LA Knight. A new video wall played for LA Knight as he made his entrance. I love how LA Knight tricked the fans and thinking smart, knowing the fans were getting him over as a babyface, and LA Knight just easily turned on fans and say, "Oh, you think I'm out here to do all this for you? No." He shut that down quickly, and the fans started booing him. LA Knight, we got LA Knight versus Mansoor with Maxxine and Mansoor at ringside. Barrett said Knight is his all-time favorite NXT superstar who isn't named Mandy Rose. Cole dropped a reference to Knight's time in championship wrestling from Hollywood. Knight went on the offensive until Maxxine distracted him, which led to Mansoor taking offensive control. Knight came back with a net breaker. Knight went to the apron and hit Mansoor with a knee to the head. Then performed a slingshot block. Mansoor stood on the apron and jawed at Knight, who kicked his legs out from under him. Hit Mansoor with the BFT, Gravy Train, and scored the pin. After the match, Knight took the mic and started his promo by saying, "Let me talk to you." Knight told the crowd he didn't do it for them. See? I said it. I knew it. I knew it, man. See? I said it right before I can even read that with you guys. I knew it. I knew he tricked the crowd, man, into thinking that they were going to try to get him over as a babyface. Now, Knight was never a babyface. He was acting like a heel, telling the crowd that he didn't do it for them. He said he didn't need a bunch of swapped up incels chanting his name. Knight looked into the camera and said he was putting the entire WWE roster on notice. Knight said they could all get their ticket punched and closed with his yell line. No hype the return of Bray Wyatt. It's really, really nice to see LA Knight finally get a real opportunity on the main roster. I'm pleasantly surprised that he will apparently be working as a heel. Now, I like it for multiple reasons, including that he can distance himself from maximum male models rather than feuding with them. New Orleans imagery was shown in a video package. Recap Wyatt's return at Extreme Rules. Cole hyped Wyatt's return for later in the show. Damage Control made their entrance for a 6-women tag match. Cole narrated highlights of Bianca Belair beating Bayley in a ladder match to retain the Raw Women's Championship at Extreme Rules. Raquel Rodriguez, Shotzi, and Roxanne Perez made their entrance on Shotzi's TCB tank. Cole hyped WWE returning to New York for the annual December 6th show at Madison Square Garden. We got Damage Control's Bayley, Dakota Kai, Io Sky versus Raquel Rodriguez, Shotzi Blackheart, and Roxanne Perez in the 6-on-6 women's tag team match. Barrett spoke about how much it has to suck that Perez is only 20 years old and can't celebrate her SmackDown debut on Bourbon Street. They've said that last year. Cole gave more hype to Tuesday's NXT television show. The word Bourbon Street, they've said that before. They've said that a lot before. Especially Michael Cole. So yes, once Cole gave more hype to Tuesday's NXT show, Barrett worked in a plug for NXT Halloween Havoc. When the heels tried to isolate Perez in their corner. But she fought them off and knocked Bayley to the floor. Perez performed a suicide dive onto Bayley. Later, Rodriguez took a hot tag from Shotzi and went after Bayley. Kai put herself in front of Bayley when Rodriguez went for a corner splash. Rodriguez caught Kai in a powerbomb position on the floor. Kai performed a moonsault to Rodriguez to break. Shotzi took out Sky with a dive. In the ring, Bayley hit the Bayley to belly on Perez for a near fall. It then showed frustration when it didn't result in a 3 count. Bayley went up top, but Perez cut her off. Perez joined Bayley on the ropes and performed a Hurricane Rana. Perez covered Bayley for a near fall. Bayley tripped Perez so that she hit the ropes. Bayley went for her Rose Plant finisher. There was a moment of awkwardness before Bayley hooked Perez in a pin for the win. So, Cole was a pro and said that Perez blocked Bayley from hitting the Rose Plant. I don't think you guys think, and I don't think that's what they were going for. It looked like, chat, listen, it looked like something was off with the finish. Bayley made it work by countering into a pin. It's too bad because it was fun to see work with Bayley and Perez's SmackDown debut. Bayley's recent losing streak even made the outcome feel less predictable. Now, by the way, the finish may have been awkward, but it wasn't as awkward as the other 4 never returning to the ring after they did the ringside dives. You guys know what I'm talking about. Now, we got a sponsor recap aired on Legado Fantasma, taking out Hit Row last week. Hit Row made their entrance. A crown jewel ad focused on Roman Reigns versus Logan Paul. A highlight package recap Ronda Rousey. You know I love saying that. JD, even though JD says it better, JD says it a lot better. I wish he'll start saying it every week because Ronda is still Rousey. In an Extreme Rules match to win the SmackDown Women's Championship at Extreme Rules, the latest Viking Raiders video was shown with what appears to be Sarah Logan, which I knew right off the bat, right from the word go. I knew it was her. She was shown. She said, God's finally spoken, instruction begins. Cole hyped a Hit Roll disc video on YouTube regarding Legado del Fantasma, who then made their entrance. This feels like the SmackDown from when the Riot Squad was on SmackDown on the SmackDown Women's roster. This is what this SmackDown feels like. It reminds me of the Riot Squad and Jinder Mahal and Zelina Singh and all them. This reminds me of the old SmackDown. And Becky Lynch face. And Charlotte Flair was heel and all that stuff. So that reminds me of. So we got Joaquin, Wilde, and Cruz del Toro with Santos Escobar, Zelina Vega, and versus Hit Row. Cruz del Toro and Wilde versus Hit Row's Top Dollar and Ashanti Diadonis with B-Fab at ringside. Top and Ashanti attacked Wilde and Cruz at ringside once they were in the ring. The referee checked on Del Toro. It then started the match. Escobar tripped Shotzi on the apron. Vega drove off the ring steps and B-Fab in the ring. Wilde tagged in, and then Del Toro hit top with a double super kick. Del Toro tagged in, and then the duo hit a kick into a neckbreaker finish, which led to Del Toro pinning Top Dollar. So the crowd was really quiet for that brief match. Rightfully so. Hit Row haven't clicked this time around, and Legado del Fantasma is just getting started. So the flat crowd isn't too surprising. The clean finish was a pleasant surprise. Then we got Caleb Braxton interviewing Sonya Deville in the backstage area. Deville complained about Liv Morgan being gifted repeated opportunities. Deville said Morgan was destroyed at Extreme Rules, and it shows that Morgan doesn't have it. Morgan showed up and attacked Deville. Morgan dumped Deville onto a road case, then slammed Deville's head on the table several times. Morgan placed Deville on top of the table and then climbed a scaffolding behind the Smackdown set and performed a senton that drove Deville through the table. Cole wondered what's gotten into Morgan. This is signaling for a Morgan heel turn, and this is also leading to Morgan versus Sonya Deville for next week's episode of SmackDown. We are also getting damage controls. Io Sky and Dakota Kai versus Shotzi Blackheart and Raquel Rodriguez. And Logan Paul will be returning. Logan Paul will be making his return to SmackDown next week. So, just thought I'd let you guys know that, but I still got news on that. I'm going to go over it anyway. Might as well repeat it just in case anybody didn't hear it. Ricochet made his entrance to a flat reaction. Highlights aired from Matt Riddle beating Seth Rollins in the fight pin with Daniel Cormier as special guest referee at Extreme Rules. That was one of the best matches on the 2022 Extreme Rules card. Another one was that Donnie Brooke match. That was two of the best matches on the card, to be honest. So once they aired the highlights of Matt Riddle beating Seth Rollins in the fight pin with Daniel Cormier, a special guest referee at Extreme Rules, and Solo Sikoa made their entrances. The fatal four-way match. Samantha Irvin announced that Karrion Kross was unable to compete due to injuries he suffered earlier. Rey Mysterio was introduced as his replacement. We got Sheamus versus Ricochet versus Solo Sikoa versus Rey Mysterio in a fatal four-way for a shot at the Intercontinental Championship. Barrett chalked up getting a spot in the match to his early conversation with Triple H. Cole said Rey and Sheamus had never wrestled one another in WWE. Rey performed an early dive onto his opponent at ringside, heading into a brick. So I believe this was last SmackDown commercial break, I believe. Yeah, this was the last SmackDown commercial break. So I have to question. I really got to question how long both men have been in WWE. Now, I'm not that shocked, but I will say that I am a little surprised that, they never had a match together. Rey's a legend, and so is Sheamus. So, nobody, I don't think anybody in the community, including myself, have an issue with the idea that Triple H gave him a spot in the match. I think this was a brilliant idea, if anything. You not want to keep Mysterio in WWE? He's an all-time great. Rey Mysterio is not retiring anytime soon. Going to keep going until he's ready to retire. Rey Mysterio got a lot more in the tank. He has a lot more in the tank, man. I would love to see a Rey Mysterio and Santos Escobar feud. That's going to be one of the best Latino, Mexican, Hispanic feuds that this generation of WWE fans has ever seen, has never seen. We should get Rey Mysterio with Dominique feuding with Santos Escobar and Legado del Fantasma. That'd be a good feud right there, man. And then we would have Elektra Lopez coming in to aid Rey Mysterio and Dominique. If Dominique Mysterio and Rey Mysterio get beat up, we have Elektra Lopez coming in, jump and back out of Zelina Vega. We get a little storyline there with Zelina Vega and Elektra Lopez on SmackDown, along with Rey Mysterio, Dominique feuding with Santos Escobar and Legado del Fantasma. I think that would be a great feud, man. That'll bring in more Latina, Mexican, Puerto Rican, and Hispanic audience to SmackDown. That'd be a great feud, man. It'd be great bringing in more people like that. You know, given that half of them are hackers, but you know what I mean. But Ricochet getting a spot in the match actually makes less storyline sense, as he lost Solo Sikoa last week and hasn't won a match on SmackDown in over a month. Now, Cole announcing that Rey Mysterio made a deal with Triple H is now official on the SmackDown roster. Cole credited Rey with helping to put SmackDown on the map. Ricochet took out Sikoa with a dive. Rey did a baseball slide dive from the ring onto Sheamus, who was down on the floor. Now, if they were to do a Rey Mysterio Santos Escobar feud, I think Santos Escobar should be the one getting over Rey Mysterio. He should be the one getting the wins, and Rey Mysterio should lose. Rey Mysterio should be on SmackDown elevating young talent as more NXT superstars get called up to be on the SmackDown roster. I think that's what Rey Mysterio needs to be on SmackDown for. They need to use Rey Mysterio to enhance and build up talent. Same with Bray Wyatt. Use him to enhance and build up young talent as well. Because Rey Mysterio and Bray Wyatt and Sheamus, they've been there. They've done it all. Do the same thing with Sheamus. Have him feud. Have him turn on Pete Dunne. Have him feud with Pete Dunne. You know, have Pete Dunne be built up. Have Pete Dunne get over Sheamus. You know what I mean? Stuff like that, man. Why do you think Finn Balor is on Monday Night Raw? To build and enhance talent like he did when he was on NXT as the Prince. This is great. This is great stuff. Triple H is doing absolutely great. A great job. Great solid job. And he knows exactly what he's doing as head of talent relations and head of creative. And he's going to know exactly what he's doing when he becomes chairman of WWE very, very soon. If he already is. In my eyes, he already is. All it takes is 2 seconds to convince me that Triple H is already chairman of WWE. In my eyes, in my own vision, in my own opinion. Now, anyways, as I was saying about this Fatal 4-Way match, Rey Mysterio and Ricochet squared off together inside the ring. Dude, could you imagine if Triple H had Ricochet turn on Rey Mysterio and we get a Ricochet and Rey Mysterio feud before we get Rey Mysterio's next feud, which I think will be with Santos Escobar, in my own opinion. I think they should have Rey Mysterio feud with Ricochet and get Ricochet over Rey Mysterio so Rey Mysterio can move on to the next feud, have a feud with Santos Escobar. Have Santos Escobar get over Rey Mysterio. Can you imagine? Can you imagine a feud between Ricochet and Rey Mysterio? I know I could. Have Ricochet turn heel, have Rey Mysterio's babyface. But what if they turn Rey Mysterio heel and we get a heel Rey Mysterio? Or a heel Rey Mysterio feuding with a babyface Ricochet, and then, you know, close to the end of the year, they end up sending Rey Mysterio back to Monday Night Raw to join Judgment Day with Dominique, Rhea Ripley, Finn Balor, and Damian Priest. What if that ever happened? What would you guys think of that? Let me know. What if Rey Mysterio actually joins Judgment Day with his son? What if he did? That would be a massive addition. Rey Mysterio would be a huge, massive addition to Judgment Day, I believe. Especially given that his son is there now. It makes sense for Rey Mysterio to join Judgment Day since his son is a member of Judgment Day. That's all I'm saying about that. But Rey Mysterio and Ricochet squared off together inside the ring. They took turns avoiding and countering moves. It was really, really cool. It was amazing. Ricochet eventually suplexed Rey and covered him for a 2 count. Ricochet went for a top rope move and landed on his feet when Rey Mysterio moved. Sikoa returned to the ring and worked over Rey and Ricochet. Sheamus ran in and was hit with a spinning heel kick from Sikoa. Ricochet caught Sheamus seated on the top rope. Rey joined Ricochet on the ropes. Slipped under Rey and Ricochet slammed him to the mat. Sikoa covered Rey, but Sheamus leaped from the ropes and a knee on Sikoa to break up the pin. Sheamus hit 10 beats on Sikoa. Actually, he hit 26 beats on Sikoa. Sheamus hoisted him up, and then Sikoa elbowed his way free. Sheamus responded with a knee to the head and an Irish curse backbreaker. Sheamus pulled Sikoa in cloverleaf, entered the ring, and Sheamus released the hold to clear him from the ring. Sami Zayn ran in and was cleared from the ring by Sheamus, who then ate a super kick from Sikoa. So Jay and Zayn, Sheamus at ringside, because this match was a fatal 4-way false count anywhere. No disqualification. Anybody can come out, clearly. Rich Holland and Butch ran out and fought with Zayn and Uso. Then Sikoa joined in the brawl. In the ring, Rey went for a 619 that Ricochet blocked. I would not be surprised if we get Jey Uso and Sami Zayn versus Rich Holland and Butch for Crown Jewel. I would not be shocked if we did get that match. That would probably be more than likely, the only best match on Crown Jewel if they book it. Anyways, Sikoa joined in the brawl in the ring. Rey went for a 619 that Ricochet blocked. Ricochet set up for a move, but Rey countered into a move that spiked Ricochet on top of his head. Rey hit the 619 and followed up with a top rope frog splash for the win. And by the way, the Intercontinental Championship match between Gunther and Rey Mysterio, that's going to be taking place at Crown Jewel. I am 100% certain that match is taking place at Crown Jewel. That match is not taking place on SmackDown. So we are going to be getting a feud between Gunther and Rey Mysterio. That is my prediction for what we're getting for next week's SmackDown. And I just went over what's slated for SmackDown. Obviously, Logan Paul's return, Damage Control, Io Sky, Dakota Kai versus Shotzi Blackheart, and Raquel Rodriguez, and Sonya Deville versus Liv Morgan. But what if I tell you that the beginning of Rey Mysterio and Gunther feud will start on next week's Friday Night SmackDown? Be on the lookout. Rey Mysterio and Gunther could be in the ring at the same time. And you know they're going to be in the ring at the same time before the Crown Jewel pay-per-view. The SmackDown before the Crown Jewel pay-per-view. So, I'm smart, man. I know my stuff, man, when I want to anyway. So Rey looked into the camera and said, SmackDown is home. He said he was ready to quit, but now he has a shot at the Intercontinental title, which will be at Crown Jewel. So, versus Gunther for the Intercontinental Championship, and Jade and Zayn versus Ridge Holland and Butch are going to be the only matches on the Crown Jewel card, in my honest opinion. I think all the other matches are going to miserably fail. Let's be honest. We all know, and we also all know that Damage Control, Io Sky and Dakota Kai are going to be defending their WWE Women's Tag Team titles against Raquel Rodriguez and Shotzi Blackheart for Crown Jewel. We know they're going to book it. I already know they're going to book it. They're going to book it sooner or later. They are. There's probably going to be at least 6 or 7 matches on that card. You know they're going to book it, man. You know what's going to happen. And you know Bray Wyatt is probably going to be in action for Crown Jewel as well. I cannot wait for next week's SmackDown because we know Bray Wyatt, Walter, and Rey Mysterio are going to be on it. Who is Bray Wyatt going to feud with? Man, that is a harsh. I know what. I could see either Bray Wyatt feuding with Drew McIntyre or Karrion Kross at this point. I mean, there are no other baby faces. Kross is not a baby. But what if Bray Wyatt turns face on SmackDown and feuds with Karrion Kross as a heel? Feuds with heel Karrion Kross. I mean, I would love to see a Bray Wyatt Karrion Kross feud on SmackDown. That would be one of the most creative ideas. That would be the greatest creative decisions that Triple H ever made. That would be one of the greatest feuds that SmackDown ever produced. Bray Wyatt feuding with Karrion Kross, man, take my money, dude. Bray Wyatt feuding with Drew McIntyre, take my money, man. Seriously. And I think we are getting one more Karrion Kross versus Drew McIntyre match for Crown Jewel. They should book, and they might as well book Karrion Kross versus Drew McIntyre for Crown Jewel, because look at what Drew McIntyre did to Karrion Kross at the beginning of SmackDown. That accident was caused by none other than the Scottish Warrior, not the SmackDown Warrior. You geeks online, not the SmackDown Warrior. The Scottish Warrior. Broken Dreams, Drew McIntyre. The actual Drew McIntyre, the real Drew McIntyre, not the heel Drew McIntyre, babyface Drew McIntyre. I would not be surprised if they put one more Drew McIntyre versus Karrion Kross match for Crown Jewel, which would be a singles match. We have yet to see a singles match between an actual singles match between Karrion Kross and Drew McIntyre. If they book Karrion Kross versus Drew McIntyre, at that point, I'd say the Intercontinental Championship between Rey Mysterio and Gunther, 2-on-2 tag team match, Sami and Jey Uso versus Butch and Ridge Holland, and Drew McIntyre versus Karrion Kross is going to be the only 3 best matches on the Extreme Rules card. Or not Extreme Rules card, but Crown Jewel card. Crown Jewel for Crown Jewel. Those 3 matches I just named are going to be the only best matches on the Crown Jewel card. So all those matches I think that are going to be booked for Crown Jewel, that sounds to me like either 6 or 7 matches total. There's probably going to be 7 matches, more than likely. It's probably going to be like the NXT Halloween Havoc card. I just updated the Halloween Havoc card on my NXT Halloween Havoc watch along that I have scheduled. Be sure to go check it out. I'll probably go over it with you guys. I'm not sure. May or may not. But Rey Mysterio did look into the camera and said SmackDown is his new home. He said he was ready to quit, but now he has a shot at the Intercontinental Championship. Cole Wyatt after the break. This was a fun, very fun, really cool, decent, brilliant Fatal 4-Way match that gave viewers a taste of Rey and Ricochet sharing the ring together. Now, while creating issues between the Bloodline and the Braun Brutes, makes me wonder how long it will take for the Judgment Day to show up on SmackDown to determine Rey. Why would they have Judgment Day to show up on SmackDown when Judgment are Monday Night Raw bound. They're Monday Night Raw talents. They're not SmackDown. That's not the idea I would go with. I would not have Judgment Day show up on SmackDown to tournament Rey Mysterio. Especially if you want Rey Mysterio to move on to his next feud in WWE. Now, while I enjoyed the match, I know I wasn't alone in watching the clock. Pretty sure everybody else that was in the live chat for my Smackdown Rampage watch along was watching the clock too last night. Hoping it would end early enough that Bray Wyatt won't just make a quick entrance. That broadcast team announced that Logan Paul will appear. Yes, I did. I already went over that. I'm probably going to go over that with you guys last time because there's news on what's slated for next Friday's Friday SmackDown, which I already gave you guys, but I'm still going to go over it anyway. So we got the 2-on-2 women's tag team match between Dakota Kai, Io Sky, and the team of Raquel Rodriguez and Shotzi Blackheart. Morgan versus Sonya Deville for next week's SmackDown. It's probably going to be a face-off between Rey Mysterio and Gunther on next week's SmackDown. Not next week's SmackDown, but the SmackDown after next week. The SmackDown after next week, they're probably going to be facing off. Probably going to be a face-to-face between Rey Mysterio and Gunther before Crown Jewel. Gunther is going to embarrass Rey Mysterio at Crown Jewel, I'm telling you right now. Rey Mysterio is not going to have no chance against Gunther. Gunther is going to smash Rey Mysterio. I wish I could say Roman Reigns is going to smash Rey Mysterio, but they're not even feuding yet. I don't even know when we're getting a Rey Mysterio and Roman Reigns feud. I don't know. Unless we already got it. Not sure. It would only make sense for Rey Mysterio to be Roman Reigns' next person to feud with. But anyways, the lights went out and Bray Wyatt's door was on the stage with a light behind it. The door opened and there was a bright light and smoke fog. Bray Wyatt walked through the door with his lantern while new entrance music played. Once at the ring, Wyatt blew it. He blew out the lantern and the crowd cheered and then chanted, "Welcome back, welcome back, welcome back," which I don't blame him. Wyatt told fans that he didn't know if they could read it on him, but he is incredibly grateful and nervous to be there. Wyatt said this was just him, and it's a version of him that he never got to introduce them to. He said he was being himself for the first time. Wyatt was emotional, stated he lost a lot of things over the last year of his life. He lost his career, self-confidence, and two people who were very close to him. Wyatt said he thought that everything he did never mattered to anyone. I was wrong, Wyatt said. Wyatt said that once he was done feeling sorry for himself, he went and saw people. Makes me wonder if he's still dating that JoJo woman or not. Former ring announcer JoJo. I wonder if he's still dating her. Probably so. He probably is still dating her. I don't know. Probably married to her too, if anything. Because didn't he have a child with JoJo? Didn't he? I believe he did. If I remember, from what I remember. Anyway. They thanked him and asked him when he was going to come back home. He said some people thanked him because they lost someone, their confidence. And they found Wyatt's words and he saved their life. A loud "Thank you, Bray" chants broke out. Wyatt said he could look all the fans in the eyes and tell them that they were there when he was weak and vulnerable. "You all saved my life." Wyatt said, "You wouldn't leave me alone. Let me alone every right to run and hide. You were there to find me." Then the lights went out. A video played on the big screen with the new Wyatt mask. A distorted voice said, "Come with him, because life is over." It said, "You have no idea who you are dealing with, but you will." The Wyatt family sounder aired, and the new insect logo appeared on the screen to close it. Now, I don't think anybody would have predicted that we'd hear from an emotional Wyatt last night. it felt like the promo legitimately gave him a chance to say thank you, and yet it also led to whatever this new force is that is consuming him. I really liked what we got, and I'm anxious for the next chapter, man. I can't wait to see what next week's episode of SmackDown brings us to. I love that they didn't just hit us with everything all at once. Now, overall, this was an enjoyable episode of SmackDown. It was a great SmackDown to follow Extreme Rules, as well as everything from Raw and even NXT. A really great final segment to have Bray Wyatt's return to television. I really like that he got to speak for himself for a moment. Also, what a great twist there, right at the end, where the White Rabbit, or whatever we're supposed to call this new character, is acting independently of Bray. That really adds some new layers to Bray's return. Now, I can't wait to see where this goes, but this is a great first taste. I will say that. This is a great first taste. Also, a great opening segment to keep things going between McIntyre and Cross. Now, hold on. Let me pull my chair up. Now, a strap match was already a strong first match. So I can't see anything short of a last man standing for their rematch. Braun beating two jobbers, of course, was boring to watch. Absolutely god-awfully boring to watch. It was, of course, similar to what Omos has been doing. Of course, Omos showed up. Braun Strowman versus Omos is going to be a complete disaster. This is going to be one of the worst feuds, one of the worst matches on the Crown Jewel card. I'm moving on from that. I don't want to mention nothing else about this Braun Strowman and Omos feud. I don't even want to talk about it anymore. All I can say is get it off of television. Nobody gives a shit. Get it off television. Good stuff out of LA Knight taking on Mansoor. And of course, Knight wins his in-ring debut. I'm not surprised that he's going heel already. He's always been heel with his LA Knight character. Even in the indies, even in the independent circles. In every wrestling promotion he's been in, he's been a heel. Just about. Almost. Now, also, a great opening segment. We got a great opening segment. Keeping things going between McIntyre and Karrion Kross. Strap match was already... Nah, I'm just kidding. I already read that. But he does a great job as a heel. LA Knight does, man. He is great. But why not give it a week? You know what I mean? Liv Morgan was going extreme on Sonya Deville. That was great. Clearly, her thing is the Super Senton table spot. That's clearly going to be a match as Liv Morgan rebuilds. And Sonya's going to have a busy week facing Elba Frey on NXT. And now Liv on SmackDown. We got a really good match from Hit Row and Legado del Fantasma, though, because Vega and Escobar interfered. It went pretty quick. Still, not sure why Lopez is out and Vega is in. But perhaps it was an executive decision to get a recognizable name with the fashion. Either way, Hit Row is a down man. Not sure who they can recruit to help even things with Legado. Actually, I have an idea. Of who they are going to recruit to help even things with Legado. I said it yesterday, as a matter of fact. I said it last week. I said this guy's name last week, too. I think Carmelo Hayes is going to lose the North American Championship vacant match, and he's going to get called up to the main roster. That's the way I'm seeing it. If Carmelo Hayes loses again, he's going to get called up to the main roster, I think. And if he does, he is going to be added to the Hit Row faction. He's going to make himself officially leader of Hit Row. That's the way I'm seeing it. I think they're going to recruit Carmelo Hayes. I think we're going to see a babyface Carmelo Hayes for the first time on SmackDown. We could very well see Carmelo Hayes making his SmackDown debut sooner rather than later. I don't think Carmelo Hayes is winning that North American Championship vacant match. It needs to be someone else at this point. SmackDown needs Carmelo Hayes. Hit Row needs. If SmackDown needs Carmelo Hayes, put it this way: Hit Row needs Carmelo Hayes. I think both SmackDown and Hit Row needs Carmelo Hayes. Hit Row needs Carmelo Hayes just because they need a leader to even the odds. I would love to see Carmelo Hayes versus Santos Escobar on SmackDown. That would be absolutely fantastic. That would be long-term booking right there, man. Carmelo Hayes with Top Dollar, Ashanti Adonis, and B-Fab feuding with Zelina Vega, Santos Escobar, Legado del Fantasmas, Joaquin Wilde, and Rayo Mendoza. That would be long-term booking. That would be a long-term booking storyline right there. Already is. It already is. It already is. Just based on what we saw. It already is, man. Now, I think they're going to recruit Carmelo Hayes sooner rather than later to even things with Legado, since Swerve seems satisfied with what he's doing in AEW. I don't think Trick Williams is going to come with Carmelo Hayes to the main roster. He should. He hasn't won a championship in NXT yet. Usually Triple H will call up people that's already won championships in NXT to the main roster. That's how he does it. I would not be surprised if Cameron Grimes gets called up to the main roster and gets added to the Monday Night Raw men's roster. I would not be surprised because he's a former North American champion. He is. I wouldn't be surprised. And I would not be surprised at the end of the year that Braun Breaker gets added to the main roster because he's not a former. He's currently the unified NXT Undisputed champion right now. I think at the end of the year, we could see Tyler Bate getting called up because, let's be honest, Tyler Bate is a former NXT UK champion. Usually they will call former champions from NXT up to the main roster. I could see Tyler Bate, Cameron Grimes, Carmelo Hayes, and who else? Indy Hartwell, and because she's a former NXT Women's Tag Team Champion. And what's her name? Oh, Kaylee Ray. I can see all them getting called up. I can see Kaylee Ray getting called up. Because they're former champions. All of them are. And I can see Trent Seven getting called up with Tyler Bate. We can get Mustache Mountain. Mustache Mountain would be a great fit for the Monday Night Raw tag team division. SmackDown tag team division is stacked right now. They only need one more tag team. I think Mustache Mountain should go to Monday Night Raw. Karen Grimes, Monday Night Raw. Creed Brothers, Roger Strong, Monday Night Raw. Indus Shear, Monday Night Raw. Viking Raiders, SmackDown. I think it would be great for the Viking Raiders if Sarah Logan can go to Monday Night Raw, though, to have more tag teams in Monday Night Raw tag team division, because the only tag team divisions they got on Monday Night Raw right now is Alpha Academy and the Street Profits. That's it. And the Usos, I guess. Usos are really SmackDown brand, not Raw. But they have both the Raw and SmackDown tag team champions. Monday Night Raw tag team division, having Indus Shear, Mustache Mountain, Creed Brothers, Alpha Academy, and the Street Profits and Viking Raiders, that'd be a freaking solid division right there. Even if you add one more tag team, known as the Authors of Pain. Even if you add Authors of Pain to the Monday Night Raw tag team division, it'd be solid. That'd be a great tag team division right there. We can get a lot of dream matches, tag team dream matches, man, in that division. And then DIY, Johnny Gargano and Tommaso Ciampa on the Monday Night Raw roster. Yeah, I'd say Monday Night Raw's in good hands after that. I'd say the Monday Night Raw tag team division and singles divisions are in good hands after that. SmackDown tag team division's in good hands right now. I don't even think they need any more tag teams as of right now. Monday Night Raw needs more tag teams than SmackDown, believe it or not. But anyways, as I was saying, we got good stuff from LA Knight, good stuff from Liv Morgan, going extreme on Sonya Deville. It's leading to Morgan versus Sonya Deville for next week's SmackDown. And Sonya Deville will be facing Alba Frey. She was Kaylee Ray. They're going to change her name back to Kaylee Ray soon, I hope. Because this Alba Frey name does not fit Kaylee Ray. They need to change her name back to Kaylee Ray. But this was a really good match from Hit Row and Legado and Fantasma. I could see them recruiting Carmelo Hayes to be the leader of their faction to even things with Legado. Since, again, Isaiah Swerve Scott seems satisfied with what he's doing in AEW. And, of course, we had another Vagnet from not just the Viking Raiders, but I believe Sarah Logan. Going to be great to see her back in action under this new Viking Valkyrie persona. Now, Roxanne Perez choosing Raquel Rodriguez makes a lot of sense for NXT's pick Your Poison story. She's big, strong, has teamed with Cora, and since Cora name dropped Rhea, Raquel is a great parallel to Rhea. But I think it makes more sense for Cora to pick Bayley since, well, actually Bayley won her match against Roxanne Perez, so I could see why Cora's picking Rhea Ripley. I think we are going to get a rematch of sorts. We could get Raquel Rodriguez versus Rhea Ripley. Maybe. I don't know. But Cora and Roxy will each find themselves in an underdog situation against a bigger, stronger opponent, and will each get a chance to show their character work in that, which will be awesome, of course. Chances are Cora cheats to beat Raquel while Roxy loses fair to Rhea, so that the math works out to favor Roxy in their weapons match at Halloween Havoc. Or maybe favor Cora in their weapons match at Halloween Havoc. Whoever it's going to be. As for this 6-women tag team match, it was great to see Roxy look so strong, I figured Bayley would win, so she has momentum going towards a title rematch with Bianca Belair. Of course, always great stuff from the Bloodline. Sami had a great match with Kofi, and of course, Sami doesn't even acknowledge Jay helped him. I love the tension between Jay and Sami. This may be one of my favorite rivalries on SmackDown, Jay and Sami Zayn. This is the Jay and Sami Zayn feud rivalry. This is just adding to the dysfunction between them. It's going to come to a head at Crown Jewel. And then tying in Rey's story was quite a twist. Rey is officially a SmackDown superstar. That Fatal 4-Way match was awesome. And we even got the Brawling Brutes with the Bloodline, making me want a triple threat at Crown Jewel to really up things. After all, the New Day did mention their history, their historic title reign, so that Usos' reign is going to be in danger as we get closer and closer to the record. The record. Now, Rey winning this contenders match was a reasonable adjustment, and he'll give Gunther one hell of a match. Well, with all the different elements, I'm sure you guys are feeling it. I'm feeling it. I feel like Rey Mysterio is getting cheated by someone. Either Dominique shows up, adding more distress to how Rey's been feeling, or it's just the classic heel henchman interfere, since Imperium has done that time and time again for the Brawling Brutes. Though I'd, of course, mean more if Gunther just straight up beats a living legend to add to his resume, his amazing resume. So that is my thoughts on SmackDown. We're going to go ahead and move on to the Rampage review here. Thank you guys for joining the live chat. Don't forget, if you're new, subscribe, hit the stream. Your likes and your overwhelming support for the channel helps me out in a lot of ways possible. I'm going to go ahead and pull the Rampage results here. So, Rampage opened up with Jim Ross, Tony Schiavone on commentary to open the show. John Moxley, Claudio Castagnoli, the Butcher, and the Blade were in the ring. The match began immediately. Show in the air. John Moxley and Claudio Castagnoli versus the Butcher and the Blade. The action spilled inside immediately. Claudio dumped the Butcher into the barricade. The Blade dropped Moxley's thrown in a barricade on the opposite side of the ring. Moxley recovered and landed a German suplex and then tagged in Claudio. He entered, but the Blade raised his eyes and tagged in the Butcher. He entered and slammed Claudio and landed a running leg drop. Butcher attempted a vertical suplex, but Claudio reversed it and caught his breath. The Blade tagged in, and Claudio landed a couple of European uppercuts. The Blade was able to turn things around with a kick to the gut and then tag in. Then Claudio attempted to free to make a tag. But the Butcher ran in and knocked Moxley to the floor. They then landed a double-team vertical suplex on Claudio for a near fall. Claudio landed an uppercut and lariat on the barricade, or on the, they landed an uppercut and lariat on the Butcher. That's what they landed on. It made the crawl over to Moxley. Both Moxley and the Blade entered at the same time. Moxley landed a cutter and knocked to the floor. He then dove on him through the ropes and landed a lariat on the Blade. Hangman Page was shown watching the match backstage. Moxley raped the back of the Blade and then pulled him into the ring with a superplex. He then delivered a pile driver for a near fall. The Butcher returned to take out Moxley with a crossbody. The Butcher then went back to the apron to tag himself in. Butcher picked up Moxley for their but Claudio made the save and put him back on his feet. Lariats on the Butcher and the Blade, and then stomped on their heads. Claudio got the pin on the Butcher after a Death Rider and Ricola Bomb combo. That was a really cool Ricola Bomb combo. That was really good. After the match, Moxley and Claudio said the Blackpool Combat Club doesn't care who they get in the ring with. And if they go down, they never stay down. They sent a message to Heyman Page, Adam Heyman Page, that he would get stepped on if he didn't step on. Backstage, Renee Young interviewed Keith Lee and Swerve Strickland. Swerve mocked Billy Gunn and the Acclaim for not being able to do their scissoring anymore. Keith Lee swerved that he stuck with him because they were the best. He questioned why Swerve needed to cheat to win against Billy Gunn. Because that's what heels do. That's what he's supposed to do. He's a heel. He's a villain. Of course, that's just my opinion. That's my opinion as to why he cheated to win. He told him that he was swerving in the lane. Lee then walked away, and Swerve looked like he had some things to think about. So, this was a whirlwind of a match with all the quick cuts. They clearly had to cut corners in order to fit everything they had planned into the show. Good work from everyone in the match, but a rather predictable outcome. The Blackpool Combat Club feels colder than it should be as a concept. So, Renee Young entered order backstage. She asked them about losing another opportunity at the trios titles. Joes walked up before they could answer and mocked them. Preston Vince dominated the match with Rush, and if he wins, Joes and Rush have to leave them. The Dark Order put theirs together to salute one another. And Stu Grayson returned to put his fist in with the group. So they basically put their fists together, and then Stu Grayson put his fist with them. They welcomed him back with excitement. In the area, in the arena. Can you guys hear me? I want to make sure my mic is on. My mic is on. Okay. In the arena, Chris Jericho made his entrance with Daniel Garcia, Angela Parker, Matt Menard, and Anna Jay. Parker told the crowd that the family was back together. Menard asked the crowd if they wanted to know what made his nipples hard, and they cheered. I don't know why the fans would cheer for that. I mean, that just sounded straight up cringe. He said it was that the JAS would be together forever. JAS stands for Jericho Appreciation Society. Just in case those of you that can't understand and don't know what JAS stands for. That's what it stands for. Jericho Appreciation Society. So they said Jericho Appreciation Society would be together forever. Anna Jay then introduced Daniel Garcia and said he was too sweet to be a La Dusty Rose. Garcia grabbed the mic, answered the question as to why he did what he did on Wednesday. He said, Joe always said sports entertainers were better than, and for a while he questioned him. He did. But he was being rebellious and listening to the wrong people. Garcia said that while his hero, Bryan Danielson, taught him heart and toughness, Chris Jericho taught him how to win when he hit him with the Ring of Honor title belt, pretty much. Garcia said he was a sports entertainer. That's how Matt Menard says it. Sports entertainer. Sound like one of them southern country white boys. White people. And that he had learned his lesson. Jericho said he would continue his destruction of the legacy of Ring of Honor. Well, he was interrupted by Dalton Castles, a former Ring of Honor champion. Castles called Jericho a silly goose and said it was a disgrace that he was the Ring of Honor champion. He's peacock power was running through his veins. Get your minds out of the gutter, folks. They're not talking about WWE Peacock on the WWE Network. No, they're talking about his peacock gimmick, his peacock entrance and stuff. Mainly talking about his gimmick. Peacock power was running through his veins, and the power of Peacock's had flowed through him into the building. Castle said the energy, his veins, keeps the lights on in the building. He fired up and said that he broke his back for the Ring of Honor Championship, and he was willing to break Jericho's to give the people a champion that they could be proud of. He challenged Jericho to a Ring of Honor title match on Tuesday, Dynamite. So, I guess the Dynamite special is going to be Tuesday, and the actual episode of AEW Dynamite is going to be on Wednesday. That's my guess. So I'm guessing we're going to have two Dynamites next week. I don't know. We'll have to see. And he accepted. Jericho said he would defeat Castle, and all would hail the Ocho. After a flash cut, Nyla Rose made her entrance for the next match. Anna Jay AS was already in the ring. This match for the stolen AEW TBS Championship. I don't know what you guys think of this match, but honestly, to tell you the truth about it, I don't know. I just wasn't. This match between Nyla Rose and Anna Jay, I wasn't really feeling it. I was not. I was absolutely not feeling it. I really wasn't. I wasn't feeling this match at all. I think to me, this match was more like a huge L. That's just me. But we got Anna Jay versus Nyla Rose. Anna Jay landed strikes out of the gate. So Nyla quickly put her down with a couple of scoop slams and a leg drop. Nyla attempted a cannonball in the corner, but Anna moved out of the way. Now, honestly, my take on this, on Dalton Castles and Chris Jericho. Dalton Castle got a nice reception from the crowd, but I'm not sure a Castles versus Chris Jericho match is going to drive a ton of viewers to a Tuesday edition of Dynamite. It should be a quality match, though, so there is that, but Castles did a nice job trying to cram as much character work as he could in a short promo segment. Makes me wonder, are they going to do Dynamite special and then do the actual Dynamite episode? I don't get it. I don't understand. AEW's got to fix this. They got to work out something here. How are they going to do a Dynamite special when they have the actual episode of AEW Dynamite next Wednesday night? I mean, we saw the card for Dynamite. There was news. Oh, it was slated for Dynamite next week. What are they going to do? How are they going to do it? I just don't understand this. I don't get it. I really don't get it, man. I don't know how this is going to work out for them. But anyways, Castle versus Jericho for the Championship. That's going to be a great match. Regardless. That's not what some of the geeks online think, but let's ignore them. They always got to be negative about something all the time. They always got to be negative about some male or female wrestler, whether it's Alexa Bliss, MJF, or X-Pac, or freaking Roman Reigns. Always got to be negative. These geeks always got to be negative in the community, man. I tell you. The WWE community is so toxic, man, down there. I'm glad I don't have Twitter anymore. I'm glad Twitter suspended all my Twitter accounts. Good. I'm glad. I don't need Twitter. Fuck Twitter. Fuck it. Nyla dominated during the commercial break and hung her on the top rope as the show returned. She then went for a top rope knee, but Anna avoided it and a cover for a 2 count. Anna then applied her Queen Sleeper hold, but Nyla quickly escaped. Anna attempted a second rope climb. Nothing. And then got caught with the Beast Bomb in the win. After the match, Vicky Guerrero hold up a 1-0 sign as Nyla held onto her unearned title. Jade Cargill then walked to the ring with Layla and Kiera Hogan. Security prevented Jade from getting to the ring. Jade knocked them all around while Jade was occupied. Nyla, Vicky, and Marina Shafir escaped up the ramp. We got a brief video package that revealed that envelope that Ari Daivari and the Trustbusters gave Hook contained $1,000 in cash to purchase the FTW title. Hook has torn it up. He said he would pursue the FTW title by any means necessary. After a flash cut back to the ring, Ethan Page and Isaiah Cassidy were already in the ring for the next match. Page blindsided Cassidy with a pump kick to start things. Either as far as Trustbusters and Hook goes, either this is leading to a match between Hook and Ari Daivari for the FTW Championship, or this could lead to a non-title match between Ari Daivari and Hook. One of the two. I wouldn't be surprised if they make the match between Hook and Ari Daivari official for the FTW Championship for next week's episode of Rampage. We got Isaiah Cassidy versus Ethan Page. Cassidy quickly recovered and dumped Page to the floor. He then performed a tornado on Page on the floor. Stokely provided a distraction, and Page recovered in the ring. He landed a twist of fate on Cassidy to mock Hardy, and then landed the Ego's Edge to get the win. And that was pretty much it from there. After the match, we got a video package that put together Best Friends and Orange Cassidy versus Death Triangle for the Trios Championships. OC wanted to get some gold for all the boys. So the TBS title theft is a silly gimmick. It's pretty much giving Jay to do some sit around weight challengers. The match between Anna and Nyla was a bit clunky. It was a bit garbage, if you will. It was absolutely kind of terrible. Not terrible. It was a little bit terrible though. including the finish. Paige getting a dominant win over Cassidy seemed like the obvious path. And I don't mean to say this in a negative way. No offense to the Matt Hardy fans on Twitter and to the Matt Hardy wrestling fans online. No offense, but I'm not looking forward to another protracted Matt Hardy story getting a lot of TV time. I'm just not. I'm sorry. Really not. Mark Henry asked Prince Nana how he thought it was going to work against FTR and Shawn Spears, the Pinnacle. Nana started singing Ebony and Ivory, but Cage told him to shut up and started yelling about nobody being better than Cage and the Gates of Agony. Spears responded that Cage was a charisma vacuum. That's what he said. Spears said that was a charisma vacuum. Now notice he said that. And FTR said the Pinnacle is always on top. In the arena, Shawn Spears and FTR made their entrances. They were followed by the busy Prince, Nana, Brian, Cage, Bishop, Keon, and Toa Liana. We got Shawn Spears, Dax Harwood, and Cash Wheeler versus Brian Cage, Bishop, Khan, and Toa Liana. Khan and Spears started the match. Spears got the early advantage with an abdominal stretch, followed by a hip toss and some 10 gestures. He then backed Khan into the court and delivered 10 punches. Spears then knocked Cage and Leona off the apron. He attempted to dive onto Khan, and Leona was caught. Harwood gave an assist with a basement drop kick and kicked over Khan and Leona. On the floor, Brian Cage got involved and roughed up Spears on the floor. Leona landed a running senton on the apron onto Shawn Spears as the show returned from commercial break. Brian Cage suplexed him back into the ring. Spears managed to recover, escape from Khan to make the tag to Dax Harwood. He landed a spine buster on Khan, but Cage shut him down with a lariat. Khan then tagged Cage, who landed a top rope elbow. Cash Wheeler had to break it up. Spears disposed of Leona, and FTR applied dueling sharpshooters, triple sharpshooters to Khan and Cage. This was a triple team sharpshooter, basically, from Spears, Wheeler, and Harwood. Spears then applied a third to Prince Nana. Leona entered the ring and broke things up. He then landed a Uranagi on Dax Harwood. That was a pretty good Uranagi by Leona. The action spilled outside where Leona crashed into the steps, trying to take out Harwood pretty much. Khan tried to steal a pin on Harwood by grabbing the ropes, but Cash broke it up after a series of blind tags. FTR landed a hard attack on Khan. Spears then hit his C4 Death Valley driver and got the win. After the match, Brandon Kanellis, Mike Bennett, and Matt Taven walked out on the stage. Brandon Kanellis said she was the first lady of professional wrestling. She said the New Japan Pro Wrestling and Ring of Honor titles belong to them first. and FTR had never faced them. She said the entire company, Ring of Honor, I assume, was built on their backs, and they never get enough credit. She introduced Tavon and Bennett as the Kingdom, and then he defeated and Bozzy team attacked FTR and Spears in the ring. Bennett, Tavon, and Kanellis walked to ringside to join in the beatdown. But Wardlow and Samoa Joe ran in for the save. The show quickly left the air as Wardlow hit the ring. Now, at this point, my honest take on this, I'm convinced that Tony Khan would hire 10 wrestlers to change the oil in his car. Nothing personal against Kanellis, Bennett, or Tavon, but there's far too many talents already in this company to add more to the equation. On top of that, you have the strange assumption that AEW fans are significantly invested in Ring of Honor stories and characters that were associated with the company during of significant decline in overall mind share, and popularity. And then on top of that, there's too many AEW Ring of Honor titles, too many titles being displayed on AEW Dark Elevation, Dynamite, and Rampage. Way too many titles. Not only is it too many talents, but way too many titles as well. The strategy here is to convince Warner Bros. Discovery to add additional hours of TV dedicated to Ring of Honor, but it's not doing too much to excite some people in the IWC community, some wrestling fans, some WWE and AEW wrestling fans as viewers. Now, some of you probably much rather see, legitimately, some of you YouTube wrestling content creators, some of you IWC wrestling fans, and some of the podcasts and their wrestling fan base probably would much rather see a more tightly focused company get back to focusing on what made it originally stand out in the wrestling marketplace, rather than continue to water itself down with additions that spread the creative energy to thin. My full thoughts on Rampage. You know, the show wasn't too bad. I mean, Rampage was great, believe it or not. Rampage was great. Smackdown Rampage was great. Now, this show acted as a go-home show to what is become a huge Tuesday night Dynamite. Of course, AEW is setting up this special Tuesday episode to be huge because it has to compete with NXT's go-home show to Halloween Havoc. Now we're getting 4 title matches with a great promo from Best Friends to call out Death Triangle. A great Vagnet from Storm and Sheeta before they have their, well, it is no longer interim. Is Thunder Rosa going to be out of action so long that Storm is just the champion by default? That's the question there. Either way, Storm versus Sheeta is going to be awesome. But I would think Storm wins because otherwise Sheeta has 3 belts. Now, guys, Dynamite's going to be Tuesday. I didn't know. I thought it was going to be Wednesday. Well, honest will say I will be live with my Dynamite review Wednesday afternoon. So we'll be live with the Dynamite review, and then we'll be live with the Dark Watch Along. And I'm going to tell you my full YouTube schedule. That's going to be one of the things that's going to be live next week on the channel. Now, like I said, Storm versus Sheeta is going to be awesome. I would think Storm wins because otherwise Sheeta has 3 belts. We also got a great opening tag match from Blackpool Combat Club versus Butcher and the Blade. Naturally, Blackpool Combat Club wins because Moxley needs momentum going into his match, his title match with Heyman Page. Sorry, I'm stuttering a little bit. My bad. Moxley needs momentum going into his title match with Adam Heyman Page. We got a very good group promo from the Jericho Appreciation Society to explain Garcia's reason for returning to the group. Fix my camera a little bit here. Well, some of us were expecting Jay Lethal. Some of you guys are probably gladly surprised, rather, that Dalton Castles stepped up to the plate. I'm glad he stepped up to the plate. Dalton Castles and the boys are ready to be all elite, whether these geeks online like it or not. Castle is a great example of pro wrestling skill in sports entertainment. Charisma. He is a great next opponent for Jericho. Dalton Castle's gimmick is great. His entrance is great. His in-ring skills are great. His amateur background looks even more great. Now, Castles is a great example of professional wrestling skill in sports entertainment. Charisma. I just said that. That's what I said. He's great. I love watching Castles and the boys. They are a great trios tag team. Now, I would rather AEW make them all elite than make the Kingdom faction all elite. Let's be honest. WWE is still interested in signing Matt Taven. I wonder if Matt Taven shut down the fact that he's not signing with WWE. Or is signing with WWE. Maybe he did shut down the fact that he wasn't signing with WWE and signing with AEW. No. I guess they're just trying to go through all brands to see which brand they're going to sign with. I don't know. I don't know where the other two members are. I'm guessing WWE signing them. I'm guessing they're one of the Wyatt Six members. I'm guessing. The other two guys, they were former Ring of Honor Tag Team Champions. You guys might know who I'm talking about, but you'll find out sooner rather than later. Yeah, Castles is a great opponent for Jericho, but as such, Jericho is surely winning. Now, we might even see Jericho, Menard, and Parker going for the Ring of Honor six-man titles at some point, just to add to this Jericho Appreciation Society defacing the Ring of Honor legacy. Pretty much ruining the Ring of Honor legacy. Messing it up. Bringing it down. Great promo from Dark Order to basically adjust from not having Vance versus Andrade. And it was great that Stu Grayson came back. Hopefully he sticks around. AEW had a chance to make Uno and Stu tag title contenders. Maybe they do that right this time. Maybe. We don't know. Good promo from Daivari calling out Hook. But I'm thinking Hook beats Daivari. As I told you guys earlier, we are going to be getting Hook versus Daivari for the FTW Championship on next week's episode of Rampage. If not, I'll be shocked. But hopefully it's more of a competitive match so we can see what more Hook has to offer as a wrestler. Good promo from Swerve and Keith Lee. They're, of course, back on the dysfunction story. And that's good for the intrigue, basically, if you will. It was long of a match as some of us have hoped. But I'm even more honestly that Ethan won. I think the right decision would have been for Cassidy to win, not Ethan. Why would you want Private Party and Matt Hardy with the firm when you could just start a storyline between Matt Hardy, Private Party, and the firm? That could have been the firm's storyline in AEW. The firm feuding with Matt Hardy and Private Party. Why you gotta have Ethan Page win to have Private Party and Matt Hardy work with the firm? Come on, man. That's too much. I would have had Isaiah Cassidy winning. to have Matt Hardy keep Private Party in their contracts. That's the way I would have done it. Now the page is won. This, of course, leads to Hardy Party reluctantly doing heel things until they refuse and fight back. I don't think this makes sense to me. Just saying. Just throwing it out there. Really good match from Nyla. Good match, but it wasn't that good. Wasn't really that good. Anna did look strong, even though she lost. The baddie storming down to the ring was a natural move of sorts. But that was rather clever that Nyla and team managed to sneak away. Rather creative. Now I wonder if DeMonte. I wonder if DeMonte will get in on this, as she has teamed with Nyla in the past. And she has her real-life relationship with Kiera Hogan to play off. Now, but some of you in the community would probably hope that they think to write this with a ringside ban on everyone. So that it's just pretty much Jade and Nyla for the title. Jade's proven she doesn't need interference to win, but she has used it when things weren't going her way. She should reach 40-0 without even so much as a distraction if it's too long or if it's too strong, maybe. Or maybe if it's to look strong. We got a great trios main event. A huge trios main event. It was great to see Spears back, of course. I got some news on Shawn Spears. We're going to go over that here in a minute. Speaking of WWE and AEW news. Of course, he and FTR win. The Kingdom made a reunion in the AEW debut. Was a shocker to some people in the community, not everybody. Now, there is a team that might actually take those Ring of Honor Tag Team Championships off FTR. But was that final brawl where Wardlow ran off the Kingdom and busy? I wonder if we'll get blood and guts match for the fall or not. Given that blood and guts is coming up. I mean, why not? It's a match type. It doesn't need to be limited to one time a year like WWE's done with Hell in the Cell plus Blood and Guts with these 10 guys would be awesome for the Blood and Guts AEW pay-per-view. That's my full thoughts on Rampage. That's pretty much going to do it for your SmackDown and Rampage review. Ladies and gentlemen, guess what time it is? Not the actual time. Oh, you already know. Trust me. I'm sure some of you already know. If you guys know the SmackDown and Rampage review, hit the thumbs up. If you didn't, then it's okay. Give me your thoughts on the SmackDown AEW Rampage review in the comments below when the stream ends. And thank you guys for being here in the live chat. Let's go over the live chats real quick before I go over the WWE and AEW Saturday afternoon news. Hassan says, hey, cool man. Cameron Ray-Marie with a period. He comments a period. Why? I don't know. Some sort of period or exclamation mark. So there wasn't really much people here. Okay, guys. It is time for your sir. It is time for your WWE and AEW Saturday afternoon, evening news. All right. We are going to go ahead and start with the news on, as I pull it up on the screen here. Why my phone's acting so. We're going to go ahead and start with the news on WWE booking Logan Paul's return and more for SmackDown next week. That's what we're going to start with the news on. So apparently SmackDown, they've already have booked matches and segments for next week. Where is that article for next week's SmackDown? Where is it? Dang it, where is it at? I hate getting cut off like that. I really do. Guys, don't you just hate when you do reviews and then get cut off? It's like when you're trying to pull something up, it doesn't come up. Have you ever had that problem as a YouTube content creator? I've had that problem many times, and it's annoying. I'm going to tell you. Very, very annoying. Very, very, very annoying, man. What is going on here? I can't find. Let me see if I can re-upload it. Okay, here it is. I found it. All right. So, as far as your AEW Saturday afternoon night goes, we're gonna start the news on WWE booking Logan Paul's return and more for SmackDown next week. So it says here that Logan Paul was on a 2-match winning streak when he challenged Roman Reigns for the undisputed WWE Universal Championship. Logan Paul will return to SmackDown next week to continue his build-up to his Crown Jewel match. WWE announced that Logan Paul will return to the Blue brand next week. And Logan Paul was on SmackDown last week and confronted the entire bloodline. He will be on the show. Plus, Dakota Kai and Io Sky will put their WWE Women's Tag Team Championships on the line against Raquel Rodriguez and Shotzi Blackheart next week on SmackDown. Obviously, I already told you guys all this earlier. Just in case you guys didn't get to hear it, going over it with you guys one last time. Liv Morgan will take on Sonya Deville in singles action next week on SmackDown. Liv Morgan attacks Sonya Deville on SmackDown and put her through a tape. So that is pretty much the card for next week's episode of SmackDown. Now, going on to the next news on Ronda Rousey. There is news on Ronda Rousey. There's news on Ronda Rousey. Fuck the damn phone. I don't give a fuck about that. There's news on Ronda Rousey. Apparently, Ronda Rousey claims she gets to pick her opponent in WWE. No, she doesn't. WWE, Triple H, and Creative makes the decisions as to who their opponent is going to be, not her. I don't care what anybody negative has to say. It says here that Ronda Rousey is most certainly one of the most well-known names to make her way from the WWE or from the world of combat sports to professional wrestling. She continues to honed her craft and is now more comfortable in her current role as well. Since losing the Smackdown Women's Championship to Liv Morgan, Ronda Rousey was engaged in a bitter feud with Morgan. That was one of the worst feuds we've ever gotten on SmackDown. I'm not even going to lie to you. Fans also became tired of Liv Morgan by that time. At Extreme Rules, Rousey challenged Liv Morgan for the SmackDown Women's Championship in an Extreme Rules match. When all was said and done, Rousey defeated Morgan to become the new champion. While speaking on her Ronda on the Road series on YouTube, Ronda Rousey claimed that she gets to pick her own opponents in WWE. Says here, and I quote, "I'm spoiled in that I get to pick who I want to work with. Like, hey, I think this person's awesome and has a lot of potential," she said. "I want to really, put this person over and have people see how great they are." End quote. He already has a few opponents in mind. We will have to wait and see just how Ronda Rousey is booked as the SmackDown Women's Champion. Perhaps she will have a proper reign this time around. What are y'all's thoughts on that story? Let me know in the live chats right now, please. I would really appreciate it. Let's get some in here because I have some more WWE and AEW Saturday night afternoon news to go over with you guys. What is y'all's take on Ronda Rousey's booking on SmackDown? Let me know. Now, there's some news on WWE criticizing LA Knight's name. I don't know what's going on there, and I don't know why this is even in the news. I don't understand their logic of writing an article about this and putting this on the news. But anyways, LA Knight wasted no time in making an impact when he did during Impact. Just looking at the word Impact, it just, oh my God. Nobody cares about Impact. There's only 6-7 people watching Impact, man. Impact Wrestling. Not that kind of Impact, but there's another meaning of Impact. But LA Knight wasted no time in making an impact when he debuted during NXT TakeOver Vengeance Day, February 14th, 2021. He underwent a huge change after being called up to the main roster, as he was then known as Max Dupri. Let me say it again just to be hilarious. Max Dupri! Knight debuted as part of the Maximum Male Models agency with Marseille and Miss Pourquoi? I don't know, man. I don't know what's wrong with me today. Being the first two acquisitions of the agency, eventually Maxxine Dupri joined the fold as well. However, he left the group and became LA Knight again while speaking on the Cafe Rainy, the Cafe Rainy podcast. Former WWE superstar Paul London discussed LA Knight and WWE's name changes. He criticized WWE for not improving his name. I don't blame him, man. Why would they give him Max Dupri? That is an awful, awful name, man. I'm glad Triple H is in charge, and I'm glad that Triple H gave LA Knight's actual NXT name and gimmick back. Something that Vince would have never gave LA Knight. I think, it says here, and I quote, I think he's extremely talented. He's a great personality, great on the mic, doesn't try to reinvent the wheel. And then Paul London goes on to say he doesn't try to do anything crazy that is beyond his persona or beyond his limits. And then he continues to say that I'm not saying he's limited by any means. I mean, he's a physical specimen. He looks great and he works. I really enjoy his work. I haven't seen anything since he's been in WWE. I haven't seen anything of that. I know that they flopped his name around a couple of times. I'm under the belief that the writers would watch the CW network, read the teen magazines and just mash these names together or something. And then he continues to say, because these names are not good, they're not believable. I guess they eventually saturate into the mind and stick for whatever reason. I think they realize it. They're like, well, Max Dupri. Let's just go back to LA Knight. Let's go back to him sounding like a shoe brand. End quote. So we'll have to wait and see how LA Knight will be booked in the coming weeks. If anything, he will have the entire WWE universe looking at him. What's y'all's take on this big return of LA Knight? Let me know. All right, moving on to the news on the name of the new Bray Wyatt character. So apparently the name of the new Bray Wyatt character has been actually revealed. Now the fans and everybody in the YouTube wrestling community is going to want to tune into my live chat for this one. Oh yeah. I bet you guys are waiting for this one, this piece of news. I can't wait to go over it with you guys. Here we go, guys. This is a fair warning. If you don't want to hear the name of the new Bray Wyatt character, you better click off of here right now. This is your spoiler warning, because I'm going to go over it, the news on the name of the new Bray Wyatt character in 3, 2, 1. It says here that Bray Wyatt remained one of the most creative wrestlers in all of WWE, even while he was gone. In fact, some believe he was far too creative for the company, as he was never used to his full potential there, especially as the Fiend. He was never used properly. Now, with Triple H in charge, I'm confident that Bray Wyatt would be used well in his Fiend gimmick and any of Bray Wyatt's new and old gimmicks. It looks to me like his new gimmick is going to be better than the Fiend gimmick. That's what it's looking like to me. Now, the former Universal Champion was released by WWE in July of last year. Since then, the world wondered where he would go next. AEW seemed like a good option at the time, but it never happened. Bray Wyatt made his return during the Extreme Rules Premium Live event, which I was live for last week, and completely blew the roof off the entire arena, according to Fightful's paywall. If you guys want to check out my Extreme Rules 2022 watch along as well as review, if you want to check out both, go check it out. Go give it a thumbs up. I would really appreciate it. Subscribe to the channel if you're new while you're at it. Now, it continues on to say that it was said that the masks brought in for the Wyatt segments have been referred to as an Uncle Howdy mask. Internally, WWE filed it to trademark the name Uncle Howdy with the United States Patent and Trademark Office, USPTO, on October the 8th. Trademark Office, USPTO. So I guess we'll have to see what WWE has planned for Bray Wyatt. Now, we're going to move on from that to the news on Chris Masters. Now, Chris Masters is somebody that's from the Attitude Era. You know, back when Undertaker and Edge were still there, were still wrestling. So apparently, Chris Masters drops a big tease for his possible return to the WWE. I mean, if it ever happens, I'm going to find out how old Chris Masters is. He may be in his 30s or 40s now. I mean, gosh, it's been like 12 years, has it not? Former WWE superstar Chris Masters had a decent time in WWE where he would win championship gold. He was released by WWE in 2007 before returning for a second run in 2009. Masters also really wants to get back to WWE. Masters changed his name, his ring name to Adonis, and has been competing on the independent circuit. He also became the NWA National Heavyweight Champion on 2 different occasions. Friday's SmackDown episode took place in New Orleans, Louisiana. A fan in attendance created a sign that had a request for Triple H to bring back Chris Masters. Chris Masters, yes. Masters took to Twitter a reply to the tweet, hinting at making his WWE return next year. It says here, and I quote, 2023 Royal Rumble. I mean, it has been 12 freaking years, like I just said in the beginning. I just said it. So it says here, and I quote from Chris Masters, 2023 Royal Rumble. I mean, it has been 12 freaking years. And quote, Masters also previously teased returning during the Royal Rumble match earlier this year. I guess we'll have to wait and see if Masters will ever return to WWE or not. You never know, man. While I'm on here, I'm going to show you guys this tweet. I'm going to show you guys this tweet from the this image of the wrestling fan holding up the Chris Masters sign. To show you guys what I'm talking about here. This is what I'm talking about. Check it out. See that? See, this is a tweet from Chris Masters. This is what Chris Masters tweeted out. I want you guys to have a look now. If you guys can see it. See, there it is. That is what Chris Masters tweeted out. This was tweeted. The sign says, bring Chris Masters back. And then it says it was tweeted out on October 18, 2022 at 8:59 p.m. Gonna let y'all get a closer look at it again. One last time for you guys to see. Yep, that's what Masters tweeted out on the 14th. That is what he tweeted out. So what is y'all's take on the story? What's your take on the news on Chris Masters possibly making his return to WWE next year? Let me know. Now, we're going to move on to the next news. The next news is on Ezekiel's storyline. Ezekiel's storyline was apparently dropped as soon as Triple H became head of the WWE creative. In my honest opinion, it was dropped because it was complete garbage. It was completely boring. I mean, look what Vince and Bruce did to Elias. They made him look like a complete embarrassment. They wasted him on TV, kept him off of TV and got his K-ring until they could release him from the company. But after a long hiatus since August of last year, Elias returned during a previous episode of Monday Night Raw as Elias came back as his younger brother. Ezekiel, after that, a series of amusing events unfolded. Ever since Ezekiel came to Monday Night Raw, everyone has accepted that he is Elias' younger brother. However, Kevin Owens didn't believe it and ended up feuding with him. Triple H took over as WWE's head booker and dropped the angle altogether as he wasn't even listed on the internal roster. According to Wrestling Observer, Triple H dropped the Ezekiel character almost insanely after coming to power. It says here, and I quote, Elias returns on Raw on November, or should I say October the 17th. It says here, and I quote, Elias returns on Raw October 17th. He needed time off to grow back his beard and hair from the Ezekiel character. HH pretty much dropped Ezekiel's as he pretty much dropped Ezekiel as soon as he got power. So we have to wait and see how Elias will be booked once he returns to Monday Night Raw next week. Hopefully he gets booked well. I mean, you can't just sit there and let somebody like that go. I mean, come on. Why would you? Elias is great, man. If they use him right, book him right, But anyways, moving on to this next news here. So apparently WWE made last minute decision for Zelina Vega's return. It says here that Zelina Vega came back to WWE back in 2011 after she was revealed for violating the company's ban on third-party sites. Regardless, things are much better now in WWE, and she couldn't be happier. In fact, she recently replaced another female superstar in surprising fashion. Vega was away from WWE since April of this year due to injury. Fans continue to wonder when she would come back as well. After so many months, Zelina Vega finally made her return on last week's SmackDown, where she come back alongside Legado del Fantasma. Many people believe that Elektra Lopez was going to be joining Legado del Fantasma, but that was not the case whatsoever. In fact, Lopez was ridiculated for a tweet that did not age well. According to a Wrestling Observer newsletter, Dave Meltzer reported that WWE originally told Lopez that she would remain part of the stable moving forward, and even had a flight out to Rochester booked. However, WWE decided to go with Vega instead of Lopez because Legado del Fantasma's first feud will be against Hit Row, and the company wants the women from both factions to wrestle each other. See? I said earlier, what if we get the Zelina Vega and Lopez feud? I said it earlier on the SmackDown review. I said it firsthand. What if we get Carmelo Hayes called up to the main roster to be the leader of Hit Row, and we get Carmelo Hayes feuding with Santos Escobar? We get Hit Row feuding with Hit Row with Lopez, or Hit Row feuding with Legado del Fantasma. I said all that earlier. You guys can go back and rewind. It's there. The transcripts are there. I said it. We'll have to see how their feud will develop in the coming weeks. Now, moving on to the next news. So apparently, SmackDown drops to an all-time low with Extreme Rules Fallout, despite a decent episode of SmackDown this week. Don't even pay attention to this fucking viewership, man. Don't even pay attention to the news on the viewership, man. Some of these people that deliver viewerships, man, they don't even do jobs right. Legitimately, some of them do not do their jobs right. Completely. Essentially, the WWE brought a packed episode of SmackDown this week. Bray Wyatt returned with Extreme Rules Fallout, and according to Spoiler TV, the October 14th, 2022 edition episode of SmackDown brought a viewership of 2.129 million viewers with a 0.5 in the 18 to 49 demographic. October 7th edition of SmackDown brought an overnight average of 2.133 million viewers with a 0.5 in the 18 to 49 demographic. Then the September 30th episode of WWE SmackDown brought an overnight average of 2.076 million viewers with a 50 in the 18 to 49 demographic. September 23rd episode of SmackDown brought in an overnight average of 2.85 million viewers with a 0.55 in the 18 to 49 demographic. September 16th episode of WWE SmackDown brought in an overnight average of 2.086 million viewers with a 0.45 in the 18 to 49 demographic. September 9th episode of SmackDown brought in an overnight average of 2.217 million viewers with a 0.5 in the 18 to 49 demographic. The September 2nd edition of SmackDown drew an overnight average of 1.952 viewers with a 0.14 in the 18 to 49 demographic. This was a pre-taped episode prior to WWE Clash at the Castle. August 26th edition of Friday Night SmackDown scored 2.392 million viewers with a 0.50 in 18 to 49 demographic. SmackDown was preempted in Charlotte, Portland, New Orleans, and Las Vegas for pre-season NFL games. They saw a big boost because of that when the final viewership came in from Show Buzz Daily. After the NFL preempting was taken out of the equation, SmackDown's viewership was 1.990 million viewers. Now, that is quite a drop from the 2.292 they previously charted. The August 19th edition of WWE SmackDown ranked in. This is a huge number, so be prepared. I don't be understanding big numbers like this. I really don't. I'm gonna be honest with you. So they ranked in 2,084,000 viewers. They also captured a 0.47 and 1849 demographic. August 12th episode of WWE SmackDown brought in an overnight audience of 2.41 million viewers with a 0.45 and 1849 demographic. The August 5th episode of WWE Friday Night SmackDown brought in an overnight average of 1.983 million viewers with a 0.5 in the treasured 1849 demographic. July 29th episode of SmackDown brought in an overnight average of 2.06 million viewers with a 0.4 in the 1849 demographic. July 22nd episode of Friday Night SmackDown brought in 2.166 million viewers and a 0.55 in the 1849 demographic. The July 15th episode of SmackDown brought in an overnight average of 1.976 billion viewers with a 0.4 in the 1849 demographic. So I have to see if they can pull up the ratings for next week's episode of SmackDown. What is y'all's take on WWE's progress on SmackDown so far? Sound off in the live chats, please. Moving on to the next news on WWE making plans for new NIL, possibly making plans for new NIL signees. WWE launched various programs over the years, and next in line is one of them. Next in line is one of them. If you haven't heard of it, then you will see the results soon enough as more crossover athletes make their way to the WWE main roster. Now, on October 11th, WWE filed to trademark Tank Ledger, EKA Brown, Luca Ruscino, and Tavon Heights for entertainment services. Tank Ledger is Joe Spivic, a WWE NIL hire. This signifies that they are making plans for new NIL signings. It says here, and I quote, trademark registration is intended to cover the categories of entertainment services, namely wrestling, inhabitations, performances by a professional wrestler and entertainer, rendered live through broadcast media, including television and radio, and via the internet or commercial online service, providing wrestling news, information via a global computer network, providing information in the fields of sports and entertainment via an online community patrol, providing a website in the field of sports entertainment, information, fan club services, namely organizing sports events in the field of wrestling for wrestling fan club members, organizing social entertainment events for entertainment purposes for wrestling fan club members, providing online newsletters in the fields of sports entertainment, online journals, namely bylogs in the field of sports entertainment, end quote. WWE signed various college athletes because it helps them create a new generation of superstars that are just making it big in their domain and amongst the people around them. We'll have to see how NFL program will turn out to be. What's y'all's take on these new WWE signees? Let me know in the live chat or in the comments below when the stream ends. We got some huge major news on a big return match booked for Raw. WWE is a complicated workplace, and many people can attest to that. The inherently political nature of the past year only made things worse. Carl Anderson and Doc Gallows made their way to WWE in 2016, and they had a mixed run-in with the company. They eventually parted ways with WWE back in 2020 during the pandemic. After a couple of years working in AEW and Impact Wrestling, Impact Wrestling, give me a break. Gallows and Anderson returned on this past week's episode of Monday Night Raw. Gallows and Anderson will return to the ring for WWE on next week's episode of Monday Night Raw. The Good Brothers will square off against Chad Gable and Otis of Alpha Academy. It says here, and I quote, this is what Ringside News says. It says here, and I quote, last week, the OC reunited when Luke Gallows and Carl Anderson made a surprise return to WWE to back up AJ Styles against the threat of Finn Balor on the Judgment Day. Now, the two-time Raw Tag Team Champions will lock horns with Master, Gable, and Otis. Don't miss all the action of Monday Night Raw at 8/7 Central on USA. End quote. So the current lineup for next week's episode of Monday Night Raw is Seth Rollins versus Matt Riddle in the United States Championship match. The Miz versus Dexter Lumis. If Lumis wins, he earns a WWE contract. Luke Gallows and Carl Anderson versus Chad Gable and Otis. Brock Lesnar will appear, and Elias makes his return. And Cora Jade will be on the show as well. I will have the Monday Night Raw review scheduled for Tuesday. I will. Scheduled for Tuesday afternoon. I will give you guys my YouTube schedule for next week, for the new week coming up, which will start tomorrow. Now, what are your thoughts? What are your thoughts on this Monday Night Raw lineup? What are your thoughts on the updated card for Monday Night Raw next week? Let me know. Now, so apparently there's news on WWE again. This time, apparently WWE used gimmick matches to punish female talent. So it says here that Melina remains one of the most well-known female WWE superstars in the last decade or so. She made her debut in WWE during the height of the Divas era, something that is not looked upon with kindness now. The Diva era in WWE largely revolved around them, barely getting time to put on wrestling matches, and were mostly used for gimmick matches. Most of them were heavily criticized as well. While speaking during a recent interview with Wrestle Purists, Marina revealed that gimmick matches were used as punishment during the Divas era in WWE. That's bad. That is sad as hell. This is what she said. She said here, and I quote, "We're blessed to have this contract, this opportunity. And it's not to say that, hey, let me bash the company, whatnot. There's so many structures, like the top person has to delegate to the person, and then these people. It's like it can't be controlled unless it's delegated. So I can't blame the whole entire company whatsoever. But this is the ring. This is the thing." And then she continues on to say, "There are things within the roster where things should change." I agree with that one. That right there, I agree with. But it hasn't. It's still kind of trickling from the years and the decades and the eras prior. Certain attitudes or maybe viewpoints, it's still there. So whatever toxicity, it's slow getting flushed out, but not fast enough. And then she continues in her final words and says that she continues with her final words with, "So when it comes to a collision or anything where it's like, hey, girls, let's get together. We're lucky. We have a job, but we don't want to lose our job. And we've seen people come and go. It's like, how do we go about where we keep our job, but kind of like push this in and not get heat? We can kind of come together, and then it's like, okay, pick your spots, and we get pushed. Pick your spots, we get punished." That's what I meant to say, guys. And then she continues with the last paragraph by saying, "Our punishment was, hey, here's a laundry match right after you did something extraordinary. Or here's like, I don't know, a swimsuit match." They would do stuff like that to kind of see what we do. It's like, okay, what are they gonna throw at us at this point? I turned it into, in my kind, I turned it into like a, okay, they want to see our reaction to this. End quote. That's all of what Melina said. So Melina participated in gimmick matches, such as laundry pillows, like a pudding match and a feud different Raw and panties matches. That is awful. Awful television. You can clearly tell all that stuff I'm saying that's coming out of my mouth. That right there should tell you that right there is awful television. Right out of the word go, awful television. Awful television in the Divas era. Awful. She also appeared during the Royal Rumble match this year, so we'll have to see if Marina will return to WWE or not for the 2023 Royal Rumble. What is y'all's take on this story? Let me know. Now, moving on to the next news. To this last WWE Saturday afternoon night news that I have for you guys. It's on LA Knight. So, apparently, LA Knight was, I guess, held for being a physical specimen. As you all know, LA Knight debuted on the main roster as Max Dupri and founded the stable called Maximum Male Models, with also featured Mansoor, Mansoor, and Maxxine. However, the gimmick wasn't able to get him over. It just wasn't. After weeks of watching his stablemates compete and lose, Max Dupri had enough and turned on them in the last week's episode of Smackdown. He also announced that he was changing his name back to LA Knight, much to the delight of the fans. It was also announced that he would face Mansoor in singles competition this week on SmackDown, which he did. And he won over Mansoor in his in-ring debut match. LA Knight won the bout quite comfortably. After the match, he got on the mic and told the fans, indicating that he was a heel. A recent interview with Kofi, the Rini podcast, Paul Linden heaped a lot of praise on LA Knight by saying he had a great personality and halted his performance in the ring. Says here, and I quote, "I think he's extremely talented. He's a great personality, great on the mic. He doesn't try to reinvent the wheel. He doesn't try to do anything crazy that is beyond his personality or persona or beyond his limits. I'm not saying he's limited by any means. I mean, he's a physical specimen. He looks great and he works. I really enjoy his work. I haven't seen anything since he's been in WWE. I haven't seen anything of that. I know that they've flipped his name around a couple of times." End quote. Now that LA Knight has finally broke free of the shackles that have held him down, it will be interesting to see if this gimmick change will lead to a major push down the line. I think it's a major push. What he does. Great he does, man. He really is. So what do you guys think of LA Knight's in-ring performance on SmackDown this week? Let me know in the likes or in the comments below when the stream ends. So apparently, get this. Apparently, X-Pac, known as Sean Waltman, has his eye on wrestling Pete Dunne. Why? I don't know. So it says here that Sean Waltman recently made his return to WWE Raw on the season premiere alongside Triple H, Shawn Michaels, and Road Dogg as part of D-Generation X's 25th anniversary. For those who don't know, Sean Waltman announced the WWE's The Bump last year that was cleared to return to the ring. The two-time WWE Hall of Famer has been actively wrestling up until this year when he got injured doing a show for GCW. However, Sean Waltman names a couple of young WWE superstar as a potential opponent for him during his Busted Open Radio appearance. Again, Sean Waltman names a couple of young WWE superstars as potential opponents for him during his Busted Open Radio appearance. It says here, and I quote, "Listen up, folks. Pete Dunne, that guy is excellent. I would really like to have a match with that guy. There is a lot of young blood out there that's really promising that I look at and go, no offense. The word young blood, that's something Thug said. Man, if I was 25 or if I was 30, even Austin Theory is another guy I could imagine doing really great things in there with when I was younger. End quote. Sean Waltman recently tore his pec during a GCW tag team match against Matt Cardona and Brian Myers. Given that Sean Waltman is still actively wrestling, we shouldn't rule out a return to a WWE ring yet. What is y'all's take on Sean Waltman wrestling again in WWE? I don't think he should. His days in WWE has been over for years. Do people not realize how old this guy is? This guy needs to stay retired. He needs to stay retired. We don't need old Hall of Famers being brought back to WWE to ruin other younger talent and to ruin the viewership and ratings for Monday Night Raw, SmackDown, and various other pay-per-views. We don't need that. Keep it like it is, man. Keep doing what you're doing, Paul Levesque. You're doing a really good job. You don't realize it yet, but soon you will. Now, that is going to do it for your WWE Saturday afternoon night news. Now we're going to go over your AEW Saturday afternoon evening news here. We're going to start with the news on Stu Grayson. Apparently, Stu Grayson made his return to Dynamite, or not Dynamite, but made his return to AEW during Rampage this week. I keep getting my stuff wrong, man. I don't know why. I've been working on my speaking, though. I have been. Y'all just don't know how much long it takes to try to get your speaking straight, especially when you're autistic like me. When you're autistic and you have so many disorders like I do, it's kind of hard to get, sometimes it's kind of hard to get stuff right. It says here that Stu Grayson left AEW because he wanted to take on new opportunities. Last night, he returned to his old promotion and reunited with his former group, the Dark Order, on Rampage. The Dark Order were interviewed by Renee Paquette during Rampage this week. Assistant Jones interrupted the group and said he really wants Preston Vance to join Andrade El Idolo and whoosh. I like that shit, man. I really do. For real. Preston Vance scolded him off, and the Dark Order had a full hands on hands moment. The camera showed another hand, and that person was revealed to be Stu Grayson. It appears that the Dark Order are getting back to their full strength. Having Stu Grayson back is a welcome change for the group. We'll have to wait to see what's next for the Dark Order. What's y'all's take on this story? Let me know. All right, love you too. I know, but I'm trying to do my... All right, so moving on to this news on AEW adding a Ring of Honor World Title match and more to Dynamite Special Edition next week. I'm not going to be live for the Dynamite Special Edition. I'm going to be at work. So I'm going to tell y'all what I'm going to do when I get done giving you guys your WWE AEW Saturday afternoon evening news. I meant to say AEW Saturday afternoon evening news because I already went over the WWE Saturday afternoon evening news with you guys. Well, anyways, moving on to this next news on AEW adding a Ring of Honor World Title match and more to Dynamite Special Edition next week. Guys, I be trying to get my stuff right, man. It's just, you got to understand, I'm autistic. I'm special needs. I was born with autism, HD, OCD, and ODD, man. Some stuff I say might be right. Some stuff I say won't be right. We have times where we don't talk right. We all have that. Something people need to understand. I'm a YouTube content creator with autism, man. I try what I can to give you guys the content that you want to hear, that you want to see, and content that invests your time in watching, you know. Content that's going to make you say, hey, IWN's delivering some good content over here on his YouTube channel. He's actually doing good with his speeches and his wrestling reviews and watch-alongs and stuff, you know. I actually care about my YouTube channel. I actually care about the monetization stuff and the rules on YouTube and all that stuff. What we can say and what we can't say. I care about all this stuff. Why do you think I still have a YouTube channel? Why do you think I'm doing good? I'm trying to get to that next level. Now, it says here that AEW is looking to pull out all the stops with a special edition of Dynamite next Tuesday. And why would we gotta have it Tuesday when they should have it Wednesday? It doesn't make sense. Why does Dynamite want to compete with NXT? See, here we go again. Tony Khan worrying about WWE when he should be worrying about his own promotion right now. Here we go. That's what I'm talking about. This is what the community was talking about Tony Khan. Acting so concerned. The company added another title match to Dynamite during Rampage. Rampage featured a Jericho Appreciation Society in-ring segment. Elton Castle interrupted Chris Jericho promo and asked him to put his Ring of Honor World Championship on the line next week. The challenger was accepted. The challenge was accepted, plus Best Friends will take on Death Triangle for the World Trios Tag Team Championship during the special edition of Dynamite next Tuesday. Tony Khan has got to stop worrying about WWE and start worrying about his own promotion. Look at how many titles he has on that brand. Look how many talents he has on the AEW men and women's rosters. Look at the tag teams he got. He needs to fix the roster and his show overall. I ain't gonna lie. Dark and Elevation, both shows have been absolutely terrible as of late. Rampage, some weeks it's great, some weeks it's not. Dynamite, every week Dynamite's great. And we need to prevent backstage fights from happening again. Next time a backstage fight happens again, Tony Khan needs to be the one to step up to put a stop to it this time. He needs to be the one to talk some sense into his female male AEW talents and tell them, hey, we can't be having this and that. If we're going to be continuing to see this and that, you're going to get fired. You know, stuff like that. So the card for the Dynamite Tuesday special, I hate that I'm going to miss it. It's going to be some complete BS. It really is. So would you guys rather me be live with a Dynamite watch? Well, I can't do it. Fuck. I can't do it. Just because I'm not going to be home Tuesday. I'm going to be working. But I'm going to tell you what I'm going to do next week as far as the YouTube channel goes. But the card for the Tuesday night special, we have Jon Moxley versus Adam Heyman Page for the AEW World Championship. We have Tony Storm defending AEW Intercontinental World Championship against Harushida. Chris Jericho defending his Ring of Honor World Championship against Dalton Castle. Death Triangle defending his AEW World Trios Championship. Death Triangle defending their AEW World Trios Tag Team Championships against Best Friends. They got the Daniel Bryan and Wheeler Yuta interview and MJF promo. What is y'all's take on this story? Now, we move on from that to the news on the Kingdom making their AEW debut in Attack. They made their AEW debut in Attack the Pinnacle. So apparently that's what they did. Because I was live with the Smackdown and Rampage watch along, so I know. The Kingdom were a top stable in Ring of Honor before the promotion went under a hiatus. The trio comprising Mike Bennett, Matt Taven, and Maria Kanellis joined Impact Wrestling following their Ring of Honor exit. Who the fuck watches that shit? Impact Wrestling. If you're watching Impact Wrestling, you gotta be a complete fool. Really. They debuted for Tony Khan's promotion. The Kingdom made their debut during the main event of Rampage inside the Coca-Cola Coliseum last night. Matt Taven, Mike Bennett, Maria Kanellis arrived on the ramp following FTR and Shawn Spears' win over the Embassy. Mike Kanellis, Maria Kanellis distracted FTR and Shawn Spears with a promo, allowing the Embassy to attack the victors. It was 5-on-3 until Samoa Joe and Willow arrived to even the odds. The show came to a close with Will Joe picking up FTR and Shawn Spears while the Embassy and the Kingdom watched from the outside. So that's what happened there. Now, apparently, there's another sign that Warner Bros. Discovery are very, very happy, legitimately, with AEW. So apparently, recently, there has been many fans speculating on social media that Warner Bros. Isn't happy with AEW. However, to me, I don't think that's the case. That's what these geeks online think, but that's not what I think. However, that couldn't be further from the case, as things are looking good for AEW. Warner Bros. Discovery is behind AEW. During the recent MLB playoff coverage, CBS aired plenty of commercials for AEW Dynamite. Additionally, they have also been showing ads for Dynamite on the backdrop of certain MLB games. Kathleen Finch, Warner Bros. Discovery US Networks Group Chair-in-Chief Content Officer, had this to say during an interview with The Hollywood Reporter. He says here, and I quote, "We really play in the sports space. One of the things that we're doing around sports is creating shoulder programming to hold on to those fans. All Elite Wrestling pulls huge numbers, so we are working with the wrestling team to figure out what kind of new content can we build that's not in a wrestling ring," end quote. Now, that we know that Warner Bros. Discovery is really supportive of AEW, it will be interesting to just how much fees they will be willing to pay when it's time to renew the TV deal. Of course, ratings and viewership will be the deciding factor behind the decision going forward. And we got some news on Shawn Spears. So, Shawn Spears remembers his late mother during emotional promo after AEW Rampage goes off the air. I don't know if it was after or before, but I think it was after. That's just me. So Shawn Spears made his shocking return to AEW during the promotion's Canada debut this past Wednesday on Dynamite. Spears wrestled a trios tag team match on Rampage this week as well. As previously reported, Shawn Spears cut a promo in his home country of Canada after Rampage this week, after Rampage went off the air. Shawn Spears is playing his absence from AEW during his promo from the Coca-Cola Coliseum. He says here, and I quote, "I've been gone from a long time, and there's been some speculation as to why. Injuries, different plans. None of that is true. I don't. If that's because I'm in Toronto. I don't know if it's because of I'm home. I'm a pretty private person, but I feel like I owe all of you an explanation. 2 months ago, I lost my mom, and she would have been front center like she's been at every other show if she was here tonight. But that woman is a perfect 10 in every way, shape, or form." Then Shawn Spears goes on to continue and say, "2 blessings came out of that. Number 1, we had time to say everything we ever wanted to say to make her feel loved as we probably could. Most people don't have that luxury. The second blessing was that on this Mother's Day, she was the very first person to know that I was going to be a father. So the way I see it, there's a guardian angel looking over my soon-to-be beautiful baby boy. And then he continues in the last paragraph and says, so I've been pulled in a lot of different directions, mentally and emotionally, and I knew coming home, each and every one of you would show up, and goddamn, did you ever. From the bottom of my heart, I would never, ever forget this day, and I want to thank you all for that, end quote. Shawn Spears reconnected with Samoa Joe, Wardlow, and FTR during the promo as well. My thoughts and prayers go out to Shawn Spears and his family during these difficult times. And then you want to talk about people out here shooting people. There's literally people out here in real life in games. There's people that are not in games out here shooting people for no reason. Killing people. No sense, man. This violence needs to stop, man. I don't know why people are still doing this out here. Well, violence is not the problem, man. It's these negative people that's the problem. People that think they all that think they're perfect, that think everything's going to go their way and shit. You know what I'm saying? It's the people with the attitude problems, with the anger problems, man. See, I can control my anger. I had anger problems in the match, but I can control it now. I'm mature. It's the people beyond that. You know what I mean? But my thoughts and prayers go out to Shawn Spears and his family. That's all I got to say to that. So there's some news on Chris Jericho. I mean, it's not really much news. It's not really that serious, but we still need the Chris Jericho fans to know this. It's still important for the Chris Jericho fans to know. To know when it comes to news on Chris Jericho. It says here that Chris Jericho is a veteran in the pro wrestling business. Jericho has competed in numerous companies all over the world in his career, which has spent more than 30 years. Jericho has been one of the mainstays of AEW television since he debuted back in 2019. Many fans agree that AEW would not have survived had the champion not carried the company on his back for the first few months. While speaking with Josh Martinez of the Superstar Crossover podcast, Finn Balor, Judgment Day's Finn Balor, called Chris Jericho a treasure of the industry. Yes, in the description, I have it saying that Chris Jericho was called a treasure of the industry by the leader of Judgment Day, Finn Balor. I knew it right off the bat when I saw the art. So it says here, and I quote, this is what Finn Balor says: Chris Jericho is not only an AEW legend, not only a WWE legend or a Japanese wrestling legend, he's a legend of the business. He's an incredible performer. He's been able to adapt and change his character to suit multiple generations. And I feel like he is a treasure of the industry. He really is. Absolutely. One of the all-time greats. One of the greatest fucking legends in all sports entertainment. And fuck you to the geeks that don't think otherwise. Fuck you to the geeks that think otherwise, legitimately. Fuck these negative WWE and AEW fans that think, oh, Jericho is an asshole. Jericho is a clown. No, he's not. No, he's not. He's the greatest of all time. One of the all-time greats. He's a WWE Hall of Famer, for fuck's sake. Put your negativity about Chris Jericho to look at the positive things about Chris Jericho. That's all I'm saying. Chris Jericho defeated Daniel Bryan on this week's episode of AEW Dynamite after soft assistance from Daniel Garcia. We will have to wait and see what's next in store for him. Do you guys consider Chris Jericho a treasure? I do. I don't know about some of these geeks online, though. On these geeks on Twitter and these geeks on Facebook and Instagram and the wrestling IWC internet community. So there's news on CM Punk. I don't even want to go over this, man. I'm over this media scrum shit. I really am. Excuse my language. So apparently, check this out, guys. So apparently, CM Punk's role, there's an answer to the reason why CM Punk's role in AEW, All Out Brawl, will be crucial to the investigation. Okay, so check this out. I don't know if you guys remember the media scrum. I've went over that on one of my AEW Dark watch-alongs a few months ago. The AEW All Out media scrum ended in complete and utter disaster after CM Punk went on a scathing rant on Colt Cabana, Adam Page, and the Young Bucks, verbally ruining everyone mentioned, and then some. Punk was involved in a backstage brawl where he fought with the Young Bucks and Kenny Omega. Punk, the Young Bucks, and Kenny Omega were fighting like 14, 12-year-olds backstage, like a bunch of fucking half-witted idiots. As previously reported, AEW has suspended everyone involved in the brawl. But guys like Pat Buck and Christopher Daniels, Pat Buck and Christopher Daniels, their suspensions were lifted. All the guys that were trying to break up the fight, all their suspensions were legitimately lifted, man. But while speaking on Jim Cornette's drive-thru, Jim Cornette recalled CM Punk's comments about trying to run a business in AEW. He also explained why Punk's role is crucial in the investigation. This is what Jim Cornette said, and I quote, "That does make that comment, I'm trying to run a business a little." I assume he was saying something to the effect of, I'm trying to be a businessman, right? This is business. It's late. It's the scrum. It's bleeding. And he's got muffins. But that would change the complexion a little bit. And if that's the case, then that may be why this investigation is taking longer. And then Jim Cornette continues to say, some people have said, well, there's some legal action being threatened, but now is it a duel of executive vice president? Or maybe Punk just got to be a regular vice president? Who knows? I don't know what the job titles are, end quote. EC3 also feels that AEW has a severe lack of leadership following the brawl at AEW All Out. We'll have to wait and see how AEW will weather the storm in the coming months. What is y'all's take on this big story? Let me know, please. Now, we go from that to moving on to the news on MJF. So apparently MJF got huge props for being ahead of 90% of the business. We're going to go over that. And then I got your last news on Eric Bischoff. Remember, guys, I told you Eric Bischoff sometimes can be a scumbag. Well, he was even more of a scumbag after what he said about Tony Khan. I mean, yeah, I'm just going to stick with that. Anyways, it says here that MJF has been considered one of the defining heels of the current generation of professional wrestling. And it is not difficult to understand why. MJF became a huge star in AEW in a short time, and since then, it has consistently delivered in his feuds. The salt of the earth is devoted to his craft as he never breaks kayfabe, inside or outside the squared circle. His dedication to his credit has won him over with fans who simply love to hate him. While speaking on episode 265 of Jim Cornette's Drive-Thru, Jim Cornette gave huge props to MJF for being ahead of 90% of the business. This is what Jim Cornette said, and I quote, "He's the only one working anymore. He makes you want to see shit and then takes it away from you until the last minute. He doesn't just bump for the sake of bumping for everybody." because he knows that the first he has to piss the people off, so they will want to see him have his come-ups. So he goes on, Jim Cornette goes on to say on his podcast, so he's got a mind, he's got a mouth, he's got a physique that he knows how to use in the ring. He's ahead of 90% of the other people in the business. He's more entertaining than almost all of them, end quote. I got to agree with Jim Cornette on this freaking, on what he said on this podcast. This is spot on 100% factual information. Jim Cornette is absolutely 100% correct. MJF is really great at what he does. And there's these geeks online that are always shitting on MJF, always giving him zero credit for what he does with his gimmick and in the ring, which is complete, utterly BS. MJF also said that he is an attraction, like Andre the Giant. I don't know about that, but he's great at what he does in the ring. He's great with his gimmick and his in-ring skills. And his promos as well. We've seen CM Punk and MJF cut some of the best promos in the ring. MJF and CM Punk, in their feud, they were exchanging a war of words, similar to what Roman Reigns and John Cena did when they were feuding. It was great. Absolutely awesome. We'll have to wait and see whether MJF will become the AEW World Champion one day or not. All right, moving on to the last news. The last AEW Saturday afternoon, evening news here. This news is on the half scumbag, Eric Bischoff. So apparently, Eric Bischoff says Tony Khan could have avoided AEW backstage problems. Oh, no. First of all, you're wrong there. A, you're incorrect. B, more like Tony Khan should have got involved and should have did something about it. C, Tony Khan could have pulled CM Punk, the Young Bucks, and Kenny Omega and talk to them. Talk to them nicely. You know. Talk to them and be like, hey, we can't be fighting here backstage or whatever. Tony Khan is the leader. Tony Khan should have been the one to put his foot down. And he did. He did put his foot down. He suspended CM Punk, he suspended Young Bucks, and Kenny Omega. Why is Eric Bischoff mentioning this now? The media scrum is over. Get over it, Eric Bischoff. Get that shit out of your fucking head. The media scrum is over. Why are we still going on about this? Eric Bischoff, you're basically mentioning stuff that's from the past. Leave the past from the past. Leave the past alone and focus on the future. How about that? It says here that the AEW All Out media scrum ended. No, I'm not reading. Fuck it, I ain't reading. So, while speaking of this news on Eric Bischoff, while speaking on 83 Weeks, WWE Hall of Famer Eric Bischoff addressed AZEW's backstage issues and explained how Tony Khan could have avoided them. So this is what he said. He said, and I quote, let me see, is this going to be a worst take? This is going to be one of the worst opinions that I've ever read? We'll find out. He says here, and I quote, Tony has really dug himself in as the be-all, and he's the CEO. He's the head of creative. Whatever 6 titles he has, I don't think he's diligented well. I think it would have served Tony much better very early on to set the stage and to create the culture, which is, I think, necessary. I think if Tony would have not only surrendered himself, or surrounded himself, but diligented and trusted more of the more senior people around him early on. Senior people. Since when Tony Khan had senior people around him? I think he would have quite possibly avoided a lot of this drama because it is culture related, and the impression I get is that it's just kind of a rat house backstage. End quote. No. First of all, you're wrong on everything you said. Second of all, Tony Khan did put his foot down. He suspended CM Punk, Kenny Omega, and the Young Bucks, did he not? So clearly, Tony Khan knew what he was doing. So he kind of knew what he was doing. Andrade El Idolo even made his way to AEW Dynamite to fight with Sammy Guevara, as it was previously reported. Andrade is trying to get fired from AEW. It remains to be seen whether he will remain a part of AEW family or not. Finally, folks, I am done. That's going to do it for your AEW Saturday afternoon night news. If I don't get out of here these news articles are going to freaking make my damn brain explode. Okay, so as far as my YouTube schedule for next week goes, I will be live with the WWE and AEW Monday afternoon news live stream. I'll be giving you guys your WWE AEW Monday afternoon news. My Monday Night Raw review will be live next Tuesday afternoon. So that's pretty much going to be after the WWE and AEW Monday afternoon news live stream. And then, in that Monday Night Raw review, my Monday Night review is going to be live next Tuesday afternoon. That's going to be my very first Monday Night Raw since Vince and Bruce were in charge of WWE and ruined Monday Night Raw, SmackDown, and ruined all the young talent that was on both brands, and ruined all the young talent that was on NXT, and turned NXT Black and Gold into NXT 2.0. Which Vince McMahon's retired. Bruce, I don't know if he's fired or not. I hope he gets fired. He's still there, clearly. I mean, if old Monster's on the show, that's definitely a sign that Bruce is still there. But my WWE AEW Monday afternoon news live stream will be live this Monday, or next Monday afternoon, and then next Tuesday afternoon, my Monday Night Raw review will be live for the first time. And then Wednesday, we will be live. I'll be live for your AEW Dynamite review. This Wednesday afternoon, I'll be live for your AEW Dynamite Special Edition review. Because Tuesday, I'm going to be at work, Tuesday night. So, and then Thursday, I'll be live with your AEW Thursday afternoon news. And then Friday, I'm probably going to end up streaming. WWE 2K22 to kind of continue to go down the roster, kind of finish trying out all the WWE talent on that game, including LA Knight and Bayley and much more. Probably stream WWE 2K22 this Friday afternoon, and then get ready to go live for your Friday Night Smackdown and Rampage watch along. Get ready to go live for the Smackdown Rampage watch along for Friday Night Smackdown episode 42 and Rampage episode 43. And then Saturday, I'll be live with my NXT Halloween Havoc watch along. We're going to watch NXT Halloween Havoc, and then I'm going to be live for the NXT Halloween Havoc review this Saturday evening. And then I'll be live with your WWE AEW Sunday night news live stream. No Sunday afternoon news live stream. It's going to be a WWE AEW Sunday night news live stream. No WWE AEW Sunday afternoon news live stream. So that's going to be that's my YouTube schedule going forward for next week. Oh, and I might even be live for the SmackDown Rampage review Saturday afternoon. I'm not sure. NXT Halloween Havoc comes on Saturday at 7 p.m., I believe. Starts at 7 p.m. So I should be done with my SmackDown AEW Rampage review Saturday afternoon by at least maybe 4 or 5 o'clock. I don't know. We'll see. So I'm getting ready to start on my AEW Dark Elevation, or not Elevation, no. There's going to be no Elevation watch along next week, guys. So I'm getting ready to start on my AEW Dark watch along. I'm getting ready to start on my AEW Dark thumbnails and backgrounds for the AEW Dark watch along. And now I'll start on the thumbnails and backgrounds for my AEW Dynamite Special Edition review. before I do thumbnail backgrounds on both of those, I'm going to be doing thumbnail backgrounds for my Monday Night Raw review, which will be next Tuesday afternoon, which I just said. And then I'm going to be doing my thumbnails and background for my Smackdown Rampage watch-alongs and reviews. And I'm going to be doing my background for an NXT Halloween Havoc, which should be done by tonight. So, if anybody have any questions, please let me know in the comments below. I'm getting out of here. I hope you guys have a great rest of your weekend, and I will see you guys in the live chat for your WWE and AEW Sunday Night News. Peace. And, what is that thing I always say? What is that thing I always say, y'all? Do you guys remember? Anybody remember? Oh, I remember now. Stay safe always. See you guys in the live chat for your WWE and AEW Saturday Night News. Peace. Peace. I'm getting the heck out of here. Deuces.